Good morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla, and we are back here at our humble abode, Hurrdat Sports Bar.
Very stressful. Very stressful.
What's up, DB?
We pulled it off.
Yesterday?
Oh, yeah.
It was a little dicey there for a minute.
It was crazy.
Both of us are on hot spots at one point.
Well, when you're when you're kind of your guy, the quote-unquote engineer is not at the facility. That is usually, when you Zoom and you have these digital shows, like where I mean, the guy or gal is at the hub.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not all at the house. Like
there was no hub.
There was no hub. We were trying to connect the hub. What's all the hubbub? So that's where we were at, but we made it through it. That show couldn't get over fast enough. I'm just saying.
You didn't have a good time?
Man, listen. Stressing. Lights flickering, Wi-Fi dropping, power lines falling. I mean, between Giles and Harrison, you read about that mess?
No, what happened?
Power lines down from like 96 to 108th.
That's not good.
Yeah, they shut that bad boy down.
They were shutting down a lot of streets yesterday.
Man,
I know, like out west on 275, it was just blocked by cars.
That's center. That goes out to center, or that you can take center straight out to 75.
Yeah. But it was, I don't past there. But
I don't go that way. Like towards Utan.
Yeah.
I do. What did I just get on that to go do?
Is that when you went out to western Nebraska?
Maybe Central City. No.
Where's the place you went with all the?
It was Central City
with all the other guys.
Fairfield.
There we go.
It wasn't like all the other guys. Like I drove by myself.
Right, but like there was a group with other guys. Yeah.
Some other players, and
I just was imagining like
Nebraska players. They rolled by themselves. They all took Carter Nelson's vehicle.
I thought.
Which, by the way, he's like, yeah, I'm getting rid of this thing. I'm a truck guy. I need my pickup back.
That checks out.
Yeah, well, he has a Durango.
That's not bad.
Well, I don't really know what those look like. The models change so much.
They do. They change the shape of them a lot.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back to just a regular car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No more SUV?
No, sir.
How can you fit all those kids of yours in there?
Well, number one, it's grossly over-exaggerated. Number two, we're not all together all
very
the time.
often, yeah. With Caleb at college and stuff, it's,
Yeah. He threw up. They screwed up. Damn, this weather screwed up my dinner plans.
Yeah.
I had some chicken brining, and we're going to do like these pierogies, and everybody was going to eat, but then the weather happened.
What is a pierogi?
A pierogi
is... I've heard of it. I don't really know what it is.
So it's just like a potato-filled dough.
Okay.
It looks like a half moon, like a momo. Do you know what you should know what momos are.
Why should I know what momos are? That's a different kind of Asian DV.
Momos are unique like to some regions, but not where you're from.
You mean like samosa?
They look like samosas.
See, that would have been more up my alley. Samosa.
Are you a pakora guy?
Pakoras are good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Potato.
But anyway, so it's they look like momos, but they're significantly better. Just leftover mashed potatoes, doctored up. You can put anything in there. I think it's Czech.
I thought it was Polish.
Pierogies.
I don't know.
Potato.
I mean, they're different countries.
Yeah. Sure.
Just like like India and China are different.
Well, there is Indonesia.
That's still different.
Same but different.
No, that's a whole third other place. Are you thinking of like the Indochina Peninsula? Is that?
Yep, that too.
Is that maybe what you're thinking of? South Korea is a different place too.
So speaking of which, and I don't like to we meal plan, and I don't like to spend money on eating out unless it's well thought out, it's well intentioned.
Or you win a bet from me and it's free.
Exactly. Yes. So on a humbug, just looking through DoorDash.
Yeah. What do we find?
Little spoiled ass Zoe. I felt bad because
is that her government name? Spoiled ass Zoe.
Yes. Yeah, she's so stinking cute. She was so good all day, and it was stressful, and power coming and going, and this, that, and the other. Never complained. And her and I went downstairs and we watched WrestleManias.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Because she's a huge wrestling nerd right now.
Just this girl. I mean, just wrestling and jumping and flipping the blankets. And it's just her. I mean, she's just living her best life, right? So she wanted momos. We had gone out with, my guy and his wife, and we go to the same couple Indian spots, and she went with us once, and she liked the momos.
Mm-hmm.
So DoorDash, a lot of places were closed.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, man, I could just, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to go brown some sausage, crack a couple of eggs, and just be good.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to be selfish. So I took one for the team. And I'm not telling you. I'm not exaggerating. The 2 worst meals that I've had in 50 years have happened in the last 7 months.
Oof.
Both have come through the way of takeout. Sure. So I will allow a little grace.
Takeout's a little dicey.
But this place yesterday was by far the worst place I have ever had the non-pleasure of eating. And it was, generally speaking, it was Indian.
Yeah. Or at least it was supposed to be.
Horrible.
Really?
Horrible.
That's a tough go.
Oh, man. So I guess this is why are you asking me? So the masala was separated.
Okay.
Sauce in one, chicken in the other.
Okay.
Did not specify that that's how it came.
That's odd.
It seemed odd.
It's odd. Usually they'll do like...
So you get the 8-ounce container.
Of the sauce or of the chicken?
Of the sauce.
Yeah.
And it's a quarter full. I'm like, really? So I played it safe. I don't believe in experimenting with Indian.
Okay.
I don't. I got my 3 spots. I rotate.
Yeah.
I keep it pushing. And I didn't really, I'm like, I don't really want to eat. I'm not going to spoil myself. I'll get Zoe some momos. And I got wings. Immediately when I opened the deal, and people that have had these know, if you get poor frozen wings, you know what the chicken skin smells like.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
100%.
When you get the fatty overlap of the skin and it smells. I'm like, I took the lid off. Sweet to go container, so shout out that. I'm like, these sons of guns tried to get me with frozen chicken. And it wasn't even tandoori. It was like, I don't know what it was. It's like they put it in dry flour and called it good. That was the texture.
That's not good.
Listen. Never done a bad review.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. I had to hit him up like Tupac. It was so foul. I was mortified. I literally just like took a couple of bills.
Lit them on fire?
Oh, and then they threw in a liter of Diet Coke, and I'm like...
I mean, that's worth like $10 right there.
I'm not. First of all, that thing's losing its fizz the minute you twist the cap.
Yep.
Number 2, I haven't drank a liter of pop in, I don't know, 25 years,
You don't
maybe?
drink soda.
And it's going to sit there for a while. Maybe I'll give it to my neighbor or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, nobody in our house drinks it. But it was so bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you who it was. It's embarrassing.
You had good experiences there before?
It's the first time.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of the places you clicked on,
they're closed. Gotcha.
So I didn't realize. I mean, it's all in. I'll choke something down before I waste food.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that joker was in the tray.
Well, to their defense, whoever it was, I've had delivery drivers tell me, because I've seen some as I stand outside my place and vape, that when it snows and then when it's bad outside, that's their busiest days of the year.
Listen,
so it was probably extremely busy for them.
The naan, the flavor was non-existent. I mean, it was they had non-business selling that thing.
None ya?
It didn't even have any of the black marks.
Yeah.
The jar.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys cannot get away with this.
So I will say, in my experience, and there's some Indian places with really good meat.
Mm-hmm.
I generally don't order meat at Indian places.
Okay.
Well, no, I have a good reason, right?
Yeah.
So most Hindu.
I don't go to the Ethiopian food store next to the barbershop either. So if you want to, you want to be friends to the end,
you're not in the mood for some goat or something.
Yeah, I'm not riding.
No, so I don't. I'll go to Indian restaurants, but I generally won't order meat because most Hindus are vegetarian, and I'm not generally going to trust a vegetarian to cook my meat.
So where did the whole tandoori, the kebabs and the tandoori grills, and where did all that come from?
Some of them will eat meat, especially. I mean, nobody's going to eat cow over there. Some of them will eat meat, so they have those dishes. And like I said, some places around town do it really, really well. Mm-hmm. But as a general rule of thumb, I want meat eaters to cook my meat, and so I generally just avoid meat at Indian restaurants. Because
I'm not paying for anything out that doesn't have.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying.
I wouldn't go there.
No, just might be an issue at some Indian places with the meat.
It was so trifling. I don't know. I didn't let it sour my mood though.
Although I will say my wife's pescatarian and she cooks meat really well. Like she does the different stuff.
So what I turn on and watch? Grumpy Old Men. And laughed my head off.
Do you identify with them or what?
Oh yeah. I would be that guy.
Yeah.
Like, hey, morning, Richard Head.
Is that why you and Burrs get along?
That's a little loose. Although so this idiot yesterday sends me this. Well, he called.
Yeah.
Called him right back. Not right back. Probably 4 minutes. Mm-hmm. So he's back probably spinning or doing some whatever because I'm sure they got smoked with to-goes yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Why don't you just get Burrs to help you out?
Nah.
All right.
So he sends me this text. He's like, hey, all it said was, if you have any briskets, bring them over. I've got the brine ready. So I thought about it. I'm like, is he messing with me again? Because I know he was getting ready to do some more pastrami. Mm-hmm. So then about 20 minutes later, he says, hey, hurry up. Right after that, he goes, wrong person.
Wrong number. Who dis?
Okay. I see what we're on. You want to just throw that out there that we're getting some stuff ready. But then, not you. I was talking to somebody different. So I'm not giving him the satisfaction of getting an explanation. I'm just going to let it ride.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a jerk. Knock yourself out. I'll continue to laugh at Grumpy Old Men. And then this morning.
Mm-hmm. Is that Walter Matthau?
Yeah, Burgess Meredith. Burgess Meredith was 84 when he made that movie.
Dude, he looked 84 when he made Rocky.
Well, we lost him at 89, so that movie came out in 93.
Yeah, I'm just saying, he looked in his 80s in 1970.
What are we waiting for?
Yeah,
take us.
1976 or whenever Rocky came out, like that. He looked 80 then.
There's just one thing. I want you to do something for me.
Win!
What is it? That's not how she said it.
But you're winning.
Yeah, it was closer.
Well, yeah.
So I bust my rear end this morning on my back deck, which was fantastic.
Oh, you ate it?
Oh, yeah.
Letting the dogs out?
Most embarrassing thing ever, straight biffaroni.
Ooh.
San Francisco treat. I mean, foot slip to back.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, straight to bunda.
Oh, no.
Bow. And then, so I was like, oh, it's going to be a good morning.
It's going to be one of those, huh?
Well, and then the shower got away from me because I don't always brush my teeth in the shower. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's just like whatever. So I decided to, brush my teeth in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Irish Spring guy.
Mm-hmm.
I figured out what people that don't like cilantro, that think it tastes like soap, experience.
You got some Irish Spring.
Got the Irish Spring in with my toothpaste of choice, and I'm like, I got to get out of here. Let's get the day started.
Let's just get going.
Yeah, not a lot of good has happened from 4 to.
Got to get out of the house.
And I went to bed, man, because I was hungry. But I was surprised I didn't want to eat this morning.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes I'll just cram some raggedy scoop of something. There's like 3 canisters above my fridge. I don't even know. I think there's.
You like dry scooping protein?
Well, collagen's been the thing lately. Oh, it's total trash too.
What are you doing?
It's supposed to be vanilla. It's not.
No.
It reminds me more of Manila, like the smell of the little construction paper, like when you were younger.
Yeah.
Did you ever used to
I mean, I didn't.
Did you eat glue or put paper in your mouth or anything like that?
No.
Really? You never had any odd?
I never ate glue. No.
Did you put it in the palm of your hand and then peel it off and see what it looked
like?
Yeah. You did that stuff?
Yeah.
I just want to know, am I dealing with a normal kid?
I used to so I wouldn't eat them, but I would bite erasers. At the end of a pencil, I'd bite them off. I don't know why.
Fetish?
I don't know. I would just bite them off, and then I'd be like, oh, it doesn't taste
And the nipple king is born. Sorry about that, guys. Kids aren't in school. Everybody's on spring break.
They obviously don't taste very good.
Mom, what's a nipple? No idea. Okay, so back to your erasers.
Yeah, that's probably the weirdest thing I did was but I didn't eat glue or I would smell
Shane, you act like you ate a ton of glue. Around a lot of lead paint. Did you eat glue as a kid?
No, I didn't do that. I didn't live under power lines. None of that stuff.
What time did your power come back last night?
I'd say about 1:45. I think that's when the internet came back too.
Not sure.
Cox.
So do we know if we have Coach Manning this morning?
I just sent him a text to see if
the old Silver Fox would be joining us.
It is obviously going to be a busy day, so we might have to play by ear too.
Well, he's got a busy day.
Yeah.
Guy's got some wrestling to do in the next 24 hours.
Some wrestling?
Wrestling.
Oh, okay.
I'm a little traumatized.
I
watched Shane McMahon jump off some huge cage yesterday. I didn't even know that guy was a good athlete.
I don't know. I've never seen him.
Yeah, he's the boss's son, and he was in a baseball jersey, and this dude jumped off a 20-foot cage.
Yeah.
I don't know how you faked that, but good on him.
Yeah, I don't think they really. I mean, they actually jump off the cage that part.
No, I saw it, and he did the. What's the thing where you do the?
You the sign of the cross.
Yeah.
They don't do that over at the AME.
No,
I was asking. I don't know.
No, I think that's a different religion.
Well, it's mostly Catholics, right? You do the one of these. But Methodist and Catholic are pretty close. They're pretty similar.
How do you know?
I mean,
are you a theologian?
Literally, yes.
Well, what happened? What happened?
You don't want to know, man.
Who hurt you?
Nobody. You know what? Listen.
You just went all the way left. You're like, U-turn.
For the term centrist, but
Coach is in for 7:30.
Federal Credit Union.
Thank you for following us. We'll talk to Coach Manning at 7:30. I'm gonna have to get my act together by then.
You ever get too close to a situation and you kind of see below the hood and you're like, oh yeah, that's not what I thought it was.
Yeah, my first marriage.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah,
that's what happened with the theology.
Get it? I love Canada.
You start getting into some of the Greek and Hebrew and Aramaic, and you're like, oh, that doesn't say what we think it says. Oh, damn.
Anywho.
I mean, if you wonder what happened, that's what happened.
But how did you like watching what you saw last night from Texas was Texas in all their glory in just one game.
Yeah, that's how they end up 19 and 15. The first half is the 19, the second half is the 15.
So the first half is where I'm telling you, I'm like, I don't know, man. They're capable. They're super good. They're capable.
Yeah.
And then
the second half
the last 6 minutes happened, and you're like, God, these guys suck.
The second half is why they shouldn't have been in the tournament.
How about the turnovers?
Dude.
Just loosey-goosey with the shot selection. It's like, okay.
At no point down 13 was I worried.
Really?
I was just like, listen.
So let me tell you, full real talk.
Yeah.
When it got to be 62-52, when I thought Xavier was going to make the run,
yeah,
I was like, man, Texas may hold them off. Because your boy just got fouled on the little raggedy pull-up. Mm-hmm. I'm like, why would you foul him? He goes to the line. He makes two. I'm like, am I really? Are we really going to? We haven't gone. No, we have. I shouldn't say that. We don't go 0 for very often. Right?
Well, I didn't go over. I got Mount St. Mary.
We don't go 0 for very often.
I got lucky with the injury, but, you know.
So I'm like, wow. Guess I'm just going to have to make it up to the people today because I got winners, man.
Yeah.
I have to finish my bracket, but I need you to show me how to do it real quick.
On ours?
Yeah.
Okay.
The whole QR code. Like if it's my QR code, if it's our QR code.
Don't worry about the QR code. Just go to my Twitter.
Why would I want to go to your Twitter? Why can't I go to my Twitter?
Because I posted an actual link.
Well, how come you didn't send it to me?
You didn't ask for it.
Well, don't you just naturally help me out?
I'll send you the QR code, or I'll send you the link.
Okay.
That way you can just go to it instead of.
I already know what I'm doing. I don't even have to think about it. I could fill it out in 34 seconds.
Well, I might make you do that later.
I'm at my sister-in-law's, and hers is called Hoops and Dreams. She might be the most creative person I've ever met.
Really?
Oh, God. Oh, yeah. She is. She could make a tent out of an umbrella. You give her enough time.
I mean, you got similar products there.
Dead serious. She's incredible. But anyway, so I won't need much time.
You got your champion, you got your Final Four all in your head.
So
I'm going to
be honest.
You've been wrestling with the Gators.
Straight teeter-totter with the champ.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Some people call that waffling.
Sure. I'm older, so like I used to rock the teeter-totter.
We called those a seesaw.
Really?
Yeah. That's the thing, like one kid sits on each end and
yeah,
I called it a seesaw.
I never did that.
You've never heard the term seesaw before?
I want to say no.
I've heard teeter-totter. Like I knew what you meant.
Wasn't there like the nursery teeter-totter, bread and water?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about seesaw.
Yeah. Seesaw.
I know Cisse from Raya and the Last Dragon, which I know you've never seen.
Nope.
It's actually a good cartoon.
Lost Man cartoon.
Oh, knock it off.
I don't watch a lot of cartoons. I'm sorry.
I'm not enjoying the snobbiness of you this morning.
I don't watch a lot of cartoons.
I'm surprised you didn't say, Aramaic, that is, and then give me the definition. Because you, every now and again, about every other day, you'll use a word in the first segment, and then you'll just freely explain to me what it means, even though there's a 99.99% chance I know what it means.
So Aramaic is an ancient Near Eastern language. It's dead now, and there's only a handful of people in the world that still understand it.
Yeah.
But one of them was my professors at good old NCC. He was one of the world's foremost experts on Aramaic and ancient Near Eastern culture.
You pull your head up over your head and your hood over your head and tighten the drawstrings.
We'll be back with Coach Mark Manning of Nebraska Wrestling. Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by the head coach of Nebraska Wrestling, Mark Manning. Coach, how are you this morning?
Hey, good, guys. Hey, thanks for having us on here.
Coach, I mean, you have a little bit of an idea just because of my affinity for the program, but on a day after a blizzard and it's real icy and snowy out, and this totally made my morning because we really didn't have confirmation over the last 2 days because our producer lost our internet power. So he sent the message yesterday and he goes, well, I think he's going to be in. I'm not sure. I don't really have confirmation yet. And the very first thing I asked him this morning, it's, I don't know, 6 whatever. I'm like, hey, do we get coach? We've got coach, don't we? Did we get confirmation? So I appreciate it because I know you are. I mean, it is a busy time for you, and per usual, you know how you do it, but how do you just do these March things, right? You guys just historically under your tenure, you just get better and better and better, and then all of a sudden, it's March rolls around, and it's like, yeah, we're pretty good.
Yeah, it's good, Damon. We have a great crew this year. You know, our team is really really focused. We've had a great season, and you know what I like about this team is they're very aggressive. They put a lot of points on the board, and they wrestle with some a lot of freedom. And hopefully, starting today, this morning here in a couple hours, we'll display the same.
Coach, is that
same characteristics?
Is that intentional with the way that kind of the scoring has evolved with the different styles and the amount of athleticism? Because the new scoring and in the rules seem to lend itself to being able to put points on the mat as well.
Yeah, for sure. 3-point takedown. It's a game changer in regards to just people want to see action, and so. I thought raising the point value from 2 to 3 is a big deal because someone's out there just trying not to get taken down, and it slows the action down. A little bit like the NFL, they've made some rules against the defense, unfortunately, but they want to see offense, right? And so I think people want to see, a lot of action, and that, just increasing the point value of a takedown really increases the action and just makes wrestling more fun to watch, So people want to see people put up points and take risks, and that's what it's all about. And I really like how our team is wrestling.
Coach, I always wonder when you've got these conferences that are so dominant in certain sports. I think about it with volleyball in the Big Ten a lot as well, where it's almost like the conference tournament is, I don't want to say more challenging than the nationals, but certainly not any less challenging than the national tournament. Like, how do you do that? How do you have that mindset of, hey, we're actually wrestling for national championships here, but at least early on, may be a little bit different caliber competition than we were facing for most of the season?
Yeah, the conference tournament is it's a bear, man. It's a battle. It's, you're fighting sometimes if your guy's not a top seed and he hasn't secured a spot for the NCAA tournament, just like everyone's watching March Madness, who's on the bubble, who's not. Same thing in wrestling. Guys go into the Big Ten tournament and they might not have qualified, and then you're fighting a tough field, and then you're fighting to get qualified. Hey, I got to beat. You got to beat a couple of guys that might not have beaten during the year, and the challenges are you got to be tough-minded. So that Big Ten conference, just really hardens you up, because there's no easy out, and there's no easy match. You think, well, I got an easy match this weekend, and you find yourself in a barn burner. And so, you can't let up. You got to have strong, tough-minded guys.
Coach, he flies under the radar because I mean, it's just his maturation and his maturity as the season has worn on. You can just watch him get better every time out, and he's taken one. Just the evolution of his age. You got to walk me through how you kind of feel about a guy like McDaniel, where it's a brutal division. He's the weight class is tough. He's just a pup, but you see him wrestling his best late in the season, February, March. His evolution has been fantastic, and he flies under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, for sure, Damon. Yeah, absolutely. And Cam's, like you mentioned, he's a tough weight, 197 pounds. And you're 18 years old, and there's men at his weight, and they're, the Stephen Buchanan at Iowa, he's 24-year-old guy, man. He's a sixth-year guy, and he's been around. The Cardenius from Michigan, same
monster.
thing. He's very, monster. He's been, he's made U23, U20 world teams, and so, Cam's fighting some tough guys in the conference, but absolutely, he's really growing and really come along, and that's why we wrestled him. We thought, hey, it's going to be tough for him, but this guy has got the characteristics to really do something come March, because he's not going to get down and out. Some kids get worn down, and you take 4, 5, 6 losses, and you haven't lost that much since you were kindergartner. So like, holy smokes, I only lost one time in high school. Well, you take 5 or 6 losses, and it's big boy wrestling, and Cam we knew that his character and his resiliency is he's a well-built kid, and his mom and dad are super people, and that's why we knew he could do this, and he's going to give himself a chance to get on the podium this weekend. Yeah. He's got a tough route, but he's got a tough guy from Oregon State first round, and that he had a great battle with earlier in November, and this kid Munoz is a 3-time All-American. His dad was a national champion, but he's not wrestling the dad, but he's got a tough match right out of the gate. So, but really, really excited to see where he comes out tonight. This first round here.
Coach, I always wonder this, obviously you want your guys to stay focused on the opponent ahead of them, but as a coach, especially when you've got guys that you're expecting to have to go multiple times over the course of a couple days, how much do you allow yourself to kind of look ahead a little bit and start to plan things out sort of on their behalf so they can stay focused?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We do that. We've done that all last week. We kind of, we go through the bracket and kind of that way we can prepare for them. We have longer time to prepare for them, and that rather than try to do it, right 2 hours before the match, So we do a lot of that preparation before we kind of know their route, and but then again, you can't get too wrapped up in what the other guy's doing or how good he is, and just the communication pattern between, as coaches and the athlete, not put too much in their head, and because it gets them thinking about their opponent rather than what I can do. And so we really try to focus on, hey, being your best. Here's where you're good. You got to know the tricks that they're going to come with too. Just same thing in basketball or football. Hey, the end of round, the what? Hey, he's going to the tight end then 3rd and 9, right?
Yeah.
So we do the same thing in wrestling, and we kind of have guys pretty well scouted out already, and hey, this is where you have to be good and be your best is to do this. So we do. Yeah, very similar to other sports, but we kind of go through and kind of estimate out, hey, here's where we'll be, and it's fascinating. It's fun.
Coach, I try not to get the competitor in me. The draw is the draw, and you play the schedule. I've dealt with this for a long time, but I was a little bit of a head scratcher for me at 25, and it's not just because I'm partial to High Point. I played with 2 guys from High Point. I'm a big Caleb Smith guy, but I watched him and Lulla all season. I watched, obviously, Big Ten championships. Whether I agreed with the style or not, it is what it is. And it is about matchups in wrestling, right? Lulla give Ramos a much tougher time than I think he does Caleb, just because of their styles. But when I look and I see Lulla as a 1, right? Ramos is a 2, no problems there. But it was a little off-putting to see Caleb as an 8 at 25. If you could tinker with seedings, are you okay with the process, or do you think it's still going to be a work in progress for guys wrestling matches, not wrestling matches, holding seeds? Like, how do you like the gamesmanship when it comes to seedings?
Yeah, Damon. This is an important issue in wrestling, and you really the formula to get a high seed, if you started in November, Damon, is wrestle a week schedule and go undefeated.
Yeah,
you're going to have a high seed. Wrestle a week schedule. Don't go to Las Vegas tournament. Don't wrestle Big Ten schools, and just pad your record, and you're going to have a high seed. Because if I win, nothing against the SoCon, if I win the SoCon conference, I get as much clout as winning the Big Ten title. So it's really it's not great at how they do this, and but it is what it is, and so we have to live with it. Don't like the seeding process, but this is the way the NCAA wrestling committee's gone, and so we just have to live with there's some tough draws, like you mentioned. Caleb will have to face Lulla probably in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, that's not a quarterfinal match.
No, you got to get there first. So we got to get there first. He's got to get there, but at the end of the day, you got to beat him. If you got to beat him in the quarterfinals, you got to beat him in the semis. It doesn't matter when you beat him. That's kind of our approach to it. But yes, the seeding needs tinkered because it really just favors, hey, don't wrestle a tough schedule. Sure. People talk about it in basketball. This team got in, this team didn't. So many quad wins. in our phase, you don't have any choice. You wrestle in the Big Ten Conference, you're going to be challenged, and you also can make you can make your money because you got tough competition to beat. You beat some tough guys, you're going to get qualified for the tournament. But it does affect your seeding because of tough schedule, and we challenge our guys throughout the year.
Coach, how's Van D's health? How's Van D's health? That was pretty scary.
Really good. Yeah, very scary. And he was back on the mat last Wednesday, so he came through concussion protocol really well, and really, he got spiked right on his head, and man,
it was so bang bang. I didn't love it at first, but I'm one of those weirdos. I watch it in slow-mo. I try to drag the cursor, and I mean, it was a tough move, and these guys are so athletic, but I think real time, man, it made me uneasy. Yeah.
It was for sure. I got a call from the Big Ten on Monday, and they said, yeah, it should have been a slam.
Yeah.
And, I don't know how Jacob couldn't protect himself. So very scary, so, yeah.
Let me ask you. You used challenge a couple of times, and it's usually towards the competitive stamina. But the literal challenge is you've been so savvy with kind of the challenge, when to throw, when not to throw. We saw it was huge in the Pinto match. You've been very strategic. Is it more or less pressure on officiating with these challenges and the ability to go to the replay monitor?
Yeah. It's that's the thing. You're supposed to only use, 3 bricks. You have 3 challenges during a tournament, Big Ten tournament here. And, you can ask for the review, but they don't have to give it to you. You have to challenge it. And then if you don't like the challenge, you could go to the review, but you can't just walk over there and say, hey, I want to review that.
Right.
It's wild. And, referees, their ego's intact. So they don't want to change their own call. and so it's, man, you just got to get it right. And, there'll be some tough ones here in this tournament. Obviously, there'll be some barn burner matches,
Yeah.
There'll be tough calls. Like you mentioned, there's the athleticism in wrestling right now is at all time high. So, guys are, they're savvy.
All right. 2 quick things, Coach, and I appreciate your time because I know you guys are getting ready to get busy here. First or second to last, when you're looking at this program and the accomplishments, do you openly talk about the All-America potential? Do you go into this thing and think, okay, I think we can get 4, I think we can get 5, or I think we can get? Do you talk about that openly with your guys?
You know what? Not a whole lot, Damon. That's a great question. It's got to come from within. That guy, that competitor, and now we can tell them, hey, it's like Cam McDaniel's got a tough route, probably dependent a lot on this first match, in some ways, but you have to beat some good guys to get on that podium, and people are fighting for goals and dreams that they've set since they've been young kids, and so this is where it happens this weekend, and you take these moments and you make the most of them. And that's what we really talk to our guys about, just being a courageous competitor. And then your goals will happen. You'll get on that podium. You'll become a national champion, I know I've had this talk with Ridge last year. He got to the semifinals last year, and he the kid wrestled him really tough in regards to very stingy. And we didn't wrestle our best. It wasn't so much what he did, but we didn't wrestle our best. And wrestling with a little bit more freedom, in big moments, people tighten up.
Yeah.
And so we want to be a team that wrestles with some freedom in big moments and be loose and get our offense off, and so it's easier said than done, but we preach that point to them all the time about just being courageous. No one's going to give you something. You got to go earn it. And so in this sport, you got to go beat the guy right in front of you. It's it's a combat sport kind of.
Yeah.
So.
And unless you're Lenny Pinto, he understands wrestling with freedom and courage. All right, let me get
He's an explosive dude.
Oh my goodness, let me get you out of this, Coach. On the heels of Jordan Burroughs had the great posts about youth wrestling. There was a mess here locally with youth wrestling. A couple of my buddies involved directly. And I don't. You don't have to solve everything in this final answer, but you get it. Satellite weigh-ins and cutting weight at a young age, and it's a very disciplined sport. It's youth wrestling is definitely changing. What do you recommend? What would you tell parents and coaches as we continue to grow the sport?
Let people develop. I mean, I get it. You want your 10-year-old or 12-year-old to win a state title, or, hey, I'm the best kid in Nebraska at that 85 pounds or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's, my mom and dad were old school. They raised 11 kids, and they never said anything. They were always there at our matches and football games, but they never said one word about how to do anything, or they let the coaches coach. And at the end of the day, it's, you got to let kids enjoy the sport and not put so much pressure on them when they're 10 and 12 and 13 and 14 years old. Because I've seen a lot of kids, and I'm sure you have too, Damon. You come out a 5-star, football player, and you get to college and you don't do anything.
Yeah.
Well, why is that? Well, you might have already reached their goal. Maybe that was your goal, rather than keep developing. Winning the state title at 12 years old is not the end all, and the pressure to put, you got to win at that age, is too much. You got to let kids just develop and figure it out. They lose, and you learn the lesson, and you come back and you practice, and you make the sport fun rather than a pressure-packed, I got to win at all cost. And I just gotta make it fun for kids. Otherwise, kids will get, the word I don't really care for, but burned out.
Yeah.
They burn themselves out because it's like, man, I got to cut weight. And then, parents are, hey, be down at 80 pounds, not 85 pounds.
Yeah.
You give yourself a better chance, and too much pressure on young kids. They got to enjoy it, and they have to learn how to manage those expectations when they're 12 or when they're 22. And, they have to keep that, that goal, like, hey, I can keep getting better all the time. It's not, I got to win this tournament at all. I mean, we all want to win, but you gotta make the sport fun. And the sport is fun when you're developing and learning new moves, and, hey, I hit this, but I got caught in this. Well, hey, I go back in the room and I fix it. But, yeah, I mean, that's just my opinion. I just think, got to make it fun for kids and let coaches coach and go from there. But it's hard. I know it's hard.
The Silver Fox, Coach Manning, always a joy. I feel better every time I talk to you. So anytime you can get on the phone or I can come see you, let's do that.
All right. Sounds good, Damon. Thank you.
Hey, best wishes to you this weekend, Coach. Go get them.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. Appreciate it.
Yep.
That is Coach Mark Manning, Nebraska wrestling coach. Got a big weekend. I had to restrain myself from asking him if he'd walked across campus to talk to Matt Rule, see if he could borrow Tyson Terry every once in a while.
They're boys.
Yeah. Because Coach Rule likes wrestlers.
He loves Coach Manning.
Yeah.
Like that was. I'm pretty sure that's the first coach that he went and saw. It might have been Coach Cook, but I think Coach Manning was the first one that He wanted over at practice to talk to the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a huge Coach Manning guy.
Just saying, just borrow that Tyson Terry guy a couple times over
It's weird, man, and I get it. Wrestling is one of those sports where you got to see the guy anyway, but you'd like to see as few tough guys as possible.
Sure, yeah.
And I know I was whining last week. Caleb Smith shouldn't be an 8.
Yeah.
I mean, the number one guy in his at 125. It was a 1-point match. It's back and forth, and some thought Lulla was stalling, and Penn State has their own style. But for this tournament, I know you're not a super wrestling head. I have 888-638-4876, or hit me in the stream. Do you ever remember a sport where somebody was supposed to be this dominant over the field? I mean, they're talking record-breaking scoring, 130-point victory margin. Like, I don't even remember 91 UNLV being like this.
One comes to mind for me, but
dominant.
Well, that was supposed to be, but didn't turn out to be.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't hit it.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember. This is a weird one. I don't know if you remember 2003 Oklahoma. Before the Big 12 championship game.
Oh, yeah.
There were literal conversations about, is this the best team in college football history? That was a headline in a lot of newspapers the day of that Kansas State game when they went and got their head beat in.
Yeah, SC05 or 6, same thing.
There's another one in a combat sport that there were some ridiculous things said about. You'll remember. I want to save that, though. We'll get to it when we come back. More Hurrdat Sports live from Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DBM Ravi, Lulla. It is a little slick out there this morning. A lot of that water has frozen, so be careful out there. I know the roads look a lot better, and they are. Main streets aren't terrible, but especially parking lots, side streets, some exit and on-ramps. Make sure you're being careful out there. Pay attention, and, of course, keep that seatbelt buckled. This message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Keep it like your personality, Ravi. Just salty.
I am pretty salty. Do you want to know who I was talking about?
You stay. I'm trying to guess in my head. The dominant, but didn't get it done. Yeah.
So the one that comes to mind, and I only know this because I have a weird obsession with this fight, and did a huge deep dive on it in college. I did a project on this fight in college, and it's Mike Tyson versus Buster Douglas. There was, I went back and found a bunch of footage from the pre-fight stuff. There was literally, I think it was I don't think it was SportsCenter. I think it was an HBO hit on a piece on the fight beforehand, and they were bringing in actual scientists trying to explain that because of the way Mike Tyson was built, he was short but really stocky and strong, that it might be physically impossible to actually knock him down. That was a conversation that was being had. I don't know anything more dominant than that when you're trying to use physics and anatomy to explain that a boxer cannot physically be knocked down. And, of course, he gets knocked out against Buster Douglas. But, that's the one.
I'm not a great guy to talk to about Tyson because my Tyson take is a lot like your Bo Jackson take.
Overrated?
Extremely.
I actually tend to agree. He's a phenomenon.
I love his story. I almost love him as a person. Because I don't love a ton.
He's been through a lot.
I love his story, but as an accomplished boxer, I think he was extremely overrated.
Yeah.
And I don't even know who his signature win would be. Because he didn't beat any of the studs.
One of the Spinks fights.
And I was a big Michael Spinks guy.
Yeah. I
mean, I was a huge Michael Spinks guy. That fight, I lost Fred.
We lost because he lost to Holyfield. He lost to Spinks.
Lost to Lewis.
Not Spinks. Lewis. He beat both Spinks brothers. He lost to Holyfield. He lost to Lewis, which probably would have been his signature wins.
Beating old Larry Holmes.
Holmes was. He basically beat Larry Holmes, the same version of Larry Holmes that beat Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of
and that was personal because of that Muhammad Ali.
There was a.
I got to get these two mounted, but I had to have them up here today.
There's a corollary there for sure, but to this day,
this one's gonna be. This Fred one's gonna be tough. Oh, and I lost Mac. Shane?
Come on back, Shane.
I apologize. In a hurry, I didn't do my – so I thought I thought they would have paint sticks for me because they do so much –
Isn't she an art teacher?
Man, she looked at me like I was speaking Portuguese. She's like, for what? But then John was actually going to help me just get regular wood.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, it's not that serious.
It ain't that serious?
No, but I pretty much think that dude can build anything, though. Thank you, Coach Mack. They got a big one today. I don't like the matchup, Ravi.
You don't like the matchup?
I don't. I don't. I'm getting ready to lock it up.
Uh-oh. Perimeter defense or what? What's the problem? Talk to me. Talk to me, Goose.
That's one.
Mm-hmm.
I think Creighton will have to start their offense from pretty far out. I said this before. This isn't new. This is when the first came out. This is the same thing that I said to C.L. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same thing that I said to our Mr. St. John podcaster, who, by the way, loves our show.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's like doing
David Barov. Yep.
He's like doing his own homework, and he's like, oh, man, you guys are funny and this, that, and I'm like, all right, D, we'll have you on more.
Yeah.
Because he was good. There's this weird thing. Creighton obviously has to take care of the basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not. I'm not going all John Wooden on you, right?
No.
But because they have a propensity to turn the ball over.
Talk about overrated. Never mind. We'll move on.
No, he is overrated. Because they have a propensity to turn the ball over.
Yeah.
That is a recipe for disaster. Number two, I think we're looking at how, and I asked specifically about Creighton and drop coverage and how Calk likes to play. And will Louisville have to settle for middies?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they will, and I'll tell you why.
Why is that? Yeah,
because of their now. This is an ACC honk, so maybe they won't play like this, but with prep time, I'm telling you, they will have. You will see a lot of action when the ball gets to the middle. On ball screens. Watch what happens from the baseline. Guys.
Cutters.
Yes. It's a lot of what St. John did later in the second half. Now, Creighton was tired and a little fatigued, and it was easy to attack from the baselines. But Louisville already plays that way. I watched them try to do it against Duke, too. Right, with two good interior presence for Duke. I just think Louisville will have an answer, and it won't be making tough mid ranges.
So
I don't, because I don't think they want to shoot them.
They don't.
But they do get to the rim, and I told you, like the last 3 or 4 weeks, they don't shoot near as many threes. Now, when I say near as many, and instead of 33, it's
28,
27 or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't. But.
So
the advantage is Mac is superior in scout.
In game plan. Yeah.
And
you've given him 4 days?
Yeah. Which is a lot. He is superior when it comes to scout.
Let's be honest. He'd be like that's not a knock on Pat Kelsey.
It's not, because he's coach of the year. I'm just saying, like,
that's going to be true against most people Mac faces. Yeah. Like there's maybe a handful of guys in the country that wouldn't be true for when Mac's facing him. So that is, I do think there's a big advantage there. I do wonder, and you've watched more ACC in Louisville than I have, so tell me if I'm wrong here. I do wonder about their bigs' ability to hold up against Kalkbrenner.
They won't. But they're used to it though. They won't. They're
not used to him though. Like
Kalk may have 30.
He might eat a little bit
but he needs touches.
Yeah.
So you need
you know what I'm going to say.
Our guys to feed the post.
You know what I'm going to say here.
I know it's Zugic.
It's really important that Zugic is able to play.
Yeah, he'll play.
I should say able to play at a high level.
Yeah,
like it's really important for him to be healthy, because that's a guy that consistently can get Kalkbrenner the rock, and I don't know that that's true for anybody else on the roster.
I like Dave's pick or Johnny Walker, black or blue. One is really, really expensive.
They both are not.
T-Mo's got it for a gift from one of his clients at his real job, which I He was on a conference call at PBA the other day in Lincoln, so I think he's still gainfully employed. But
he's tried to explain to me what he does like three times.
It's weird.
And I used to work for the same company he works for.
But he's mastered it. My man is in the tunnel.
Yeah.
Like shushing the crowd so he can do this conference call. I'm like, this dude is a G. But anyway.
Blue is the most expensive.
Blue is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Black is like the more accessible, expensive one, I think.
Yeah. So that fits. He's covering Creighton, Johnny Walker Blue.
But blue is. Like
I think it was blue too.
Is the top shelf.
But anyway, I agree with kind of green being an X factor on the glass because Louisville struggles to clean the glass. But I think I'm going to go with McAndrew. They need another perimeter presence that can make threes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Neal's going to have his hands full because whomever Hepburn doesn't guard, Edwards will get the other. And, Neal's got to be able to use both hands.
Yeah.
They are not going to allow him to go right downhill.
Another reason why Fedor needs to be healthy.
They just aren't. So, I'm concerned.
Yeah, listen, I'm concerned as well. I do think there are some things that go Creighton's advantage. You mentioned
100%.
You mentioned the rebounding.
It's the best matchup of the first round.
Yeah,
it really is
because there's things on both sides of the equation
that can work
and that could win, right? So
I'd love to see Kalkbrenner go for 40.
So
he could.
You've got Kalkbrenner on the inside against their interior defense, like that has to be keeping Pat Kelsey up at night.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, the thing that I think you're going to notice is their length.
Yeah.
So those passes won't be easy.
Right. Again, so Ashworth is going to have a hard time. Jemiah Neal, Jason Green, Fedor Zugic are going to have to, and Jackson McAndrew are going to have to be able to get Kalkbrenner the ball. The rebounding is another thing.
Yeah.
That's going to be a huge issue especially if Jason Green's playing well. Ryan Kalkbrenner obviously is going to rebound the ball a little bit.
Are you cool with Trout's minutes down the stretch here, the last third?
You mean not having a lot?
Yeah.
It seems like some of it's come at the cost of Fedor, so I'm okay with it.
Okay.
And I love Trout. Like, I love that guy. I think next year he's going to play a really big piece on this team. I think for what they need this year, that Fedor makes a little bit more sense for their needs. What I would love to see next year is I would love to see Isaac Trout learn how to play a stretch five. That's the thing that I think he could be wildly successful at.
And as a 6'10" guy with a strap, he could do it.
6'10" guy with a strap, and he's got a pretty good frame to be able to hold up. So that's what I want out of Isaac Trout's career moving forward. But I understand it this year why the minutes have been a little bit more sparse because you have to have the right defensive matchups for him to be out there. And although he's held up better on the perimeter than I thought he would. But there are, the other thing I look at for Louisville, and you brought this up, they are going to have a lot of opportunities to shoot mid-rangers. They don't shoot them particularly well, and they don't really want to shoot them either. They'd much rather get to the rim, and again, you've got Ryan Kalkbrenner there, assuming that he isn't kept back in the paint by those cutters. So it's going to be really important.
You want the caveat?
What's that?
Who's better at reading the two-man game with this patience than Sweet Chuck?
Yeah.
He's going to hold his dribble.
He is.
Watch.
He is.
That dude is going to hold his dribble.
That's why
with that drop coverage.
That's why it's going to be really important for Creighton's wing defenders to. I know they like to shoot a lot of threes. You almost have to sacrifice getting out to 3-point shooters instead of keeping out. You know what I mean? So you can jam cutters a little bit. That's going to be huge because if you can jam those cutters and keep them out of Ryan Kalkbrenner's space so he's not getting them his peripheries and has to stay dropped back, that's going to be pretty big. That's going to be a huge thing for Creighton.
What's your do you like another matchup today at all?
I like
the slate. It's fine. It's day one, so it's going to jump off regardless. But when you're just looking at matchups,
yeah. Let me bring up who's actually
Purdue and High Point, maybe.
That one I do like a lot. But
I see that's down to 7.5. I've opened at 10.
Yeah, that's too high. High Point's good.
I don't know if there's any value left now.
No, there's probably not. Not if you're trying to bet.
Although I'm not. I shouldn't even say that. I think that's the most overrated term in
value
in sport. Yeah, you either win or you don't, right? So if you cash, the value is fantastic.
I like VCU BYU.
So has that still coming down? Is that still moving towards VCU?
It's at 2.5 now for BYU's minus 2.5.
That's down almost a full point and a half.
I'm kind of interested in Georgia Gonzaga.
Yeah, stylistically.
Yeah.
But you don't really like Georgia, though, right?
No, I don't.
But you don't like Gonzaga either, so.
But that's kind of why I find it interesting, because I'm trying to figure out which one I'm more right on.
I'm telling you, Georgia can look like one of the worst teams in the conference, but when they're
good,
when they're controlling,
yeah.
Like, do you remember Georgia Tennessee from about 4 weeks ago? And I was like, I think Tennessee was one we locked up.
Yeah.
First half Georgia versus second half Georgia.
Yeah.
I think first half Georgia went in with the lead.
Yeah.
And I think second half Georgia got outscored by 30.
I think there's a lot of teams like that in the SEC, like capable but inconsistent.
Yeah.
I think that's especially in the I call it the lower middle class of the SEC.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of those teams.
Speaking of which, do you know who I like?
Who?
I like Kansas.
So that was another matchup I was going to bring up. Is intriguing.
I would lay the 5 all day long.
And Arkansas and Kansas is an interesting one to me.
You know why?
Why?
And I get Flan as practice. But they've been better without him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so getting acclimated again.
Does Calipari have the fortitude to not play him a bunch if it's not going well?
Oh, boy.
You know what I mean? That's the question.
And why is KU favorite? Why is it 5?
What do you think it should be?
1 or 2.
You think so?
Yeah, what is Kenneth?
That's where I'm going.
What is Kenneth?
You know that's where I'm going.
Yeah, I do not. I know a lot of people have that 10-7. I have Kansas winning that game. And I feel good about that. Like,
don't like Kansas, so I've got Arkansas. But that's
do you
okay.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you will not have a perfect bracket today.
He's got it at 4.
Yeah,
so that's not far off.
Okay.
The other one that the night slate's pretty good. I like Yale. Yeah. I like Yale, Texas A&M.
It's gonna be a good one. What's that number sitting?
7.5. I like Drake, Mizzou.
That's popular. I'm not buying it. I like Missouri.
You're not buying Drake?
I like Drake. I like Drake a lot.
Yeah.
But I think people are thinking that's, I don't know. I'm not buying it.
And then my
Missouri will win that.
Favorite, I think, upset pick, UC San Diego and Michigan.
Yeah, that's not chunky in terms of an upset.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite, I expect UC, that game's going to be close regardless.
Yeah, right? It's 2.5.
It's just who Michigan is.
It's
right?
a 2.5 point.
If you're looking for a double-digit dog, I would take Yale.
Yeah.
I would take Yale more than I would take High Point.
That's fair. I think those are the only 2 13s I really like. I like those two. I like the 13s better than I like the 12s because the only 12 I like is UC San Diego, but I like both of those as 13s.
You know what I think you're going to find out?
What's that?
When Purdue's offense is rolling.
Oh, I know.
They're incredible.
Yeah, I know.
And I know how High Point. I mean, I've locked them up a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a High Point guy, right? Yeah. You're not going to out Purdue. I'm just telling you. You say what you want. You're not going to out Purdue.
I mean, there's a good chance I'm just riding with my guy Huss too much. I understand that.
That game's going to be free flowing, and I 9.5. I was like, ooh, shoot.
Ken Palm's got it at 9.
You know,
yeah,
that's okay. That's juicy, but
Ken Palm's got it at 9.
I'm not. I don't. I kind of like mustard. Come on, Fred. Where's my paint sticks?
Fred's struggling a little bit, you know.
Swing on over to Walmart.
Yeah. Oh,
I need like.
You mean that, Fred? Oh, okay.
I need probably 18. Those heads are sweet, aren't they?
No, I like them. Yeah. So you know what I spent a good chunk of time doing yesterday?
What?
So.
Yeah, you were ghost for a while. What were you preoccupied doing?
So there came a tweet came down yesterday that On3 had put in a prediction for Creighton for a European big.
Yeah.
Named Alexis Dimitrijevic. And so I spent a lot of time watching like Eurobasket highlights yesterday.
Oh gosh. Better or worse than the love affair from the rabbit hole of watching Zugic? Because that was incredible.
What do you mean? Well, it depends on what you mean by better or worse. Less obsessed at this point.
Okay. Because you needed some help.
Yeah, I did. But I will say this. He's a legit 7-footer. And I understand you have to let me give some context to this.
All right, the floor is yours.
At 18 years old, he is better than Ryan Kalkbrenner. At 18.
Okay.
Now, Kalkbrenner's development was crazy, right? And I don't think any of us were enamored with 18-year-old Kalkbrenner, so that's sort of the caveat here.
Correct.
But has a chance to be better sooner than Kalkbrenner was. Kalkbrenner took the year of development to kind of get after it. But I was impressed. He's a lot of what you think of from a European big. He's got some skills. He can shoot it a little bit, but probably a better defender than most people would stereotypically think of from a Euro. Got some rim protection and things like that as well. So I'm excited.
How interested would you be in Josh Dix?
Oh, incredibly. Very, 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 very interested. Okay. Like, name your price, Josh.
He's not going to be a money guy.
I know. That's fine. But
I mean, he's going to get that anyway.
Yeah.
That won't. It's not like, well, how much you going to. You meet his like.
No, that's fine.
I mean, salt of the earth, good people.
I would be
He plays just like he's raised.
I would be very, very interested. Like 42% from 3 in the Big Ten. Yeah, thank you.
He's just so efficient.
Come on over.
He's 14-3-3, right?
Yep.
14-3-3 guy?
14-3-3.
Yeah. And I told you it wouldn't surprise me if he stayed. And that announcement didn't come until a couple hours after our show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of making some assumptions, right? But I would take him.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good one.
I would take him and Sanford. I'd take them both.
Yeah, I'm a big Price guy.
Yeah.
But I just spent more time around him than Peyton because he was older, so we missed that group.
Yeah.
But Price is right there.
Give me, I mean, if you make me pick, I'll take Josh Dix just because I'm more familiar with him and he was more productive at this year.
We were at a Missouri showcase.
I know Price is only a freshman,
and I sat with those guys, and his dad was a treat.
You know what I like about both those guys though? It's their guards with some size.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I mean, you've been around me a long time. What drives me crazy about Creighton more often than not?
Little guards.
Because that comes back.
You and Coach Crutch.
We're talking about it today.
Yeah.
Right? We're talking about it
and Coach Crutch.
Today. One of the biggest issues is I know that they're listed all but an inch apart, but Chucky's got 3-4 inches on Stephen Ashworth. I've seen him.
Yeah. Chucky's a thicklet too.
Yeah, he's a big dude. Like I know they list Stephen at 6'1" or whatever. Like he's not. I'm sorry.
I saw him standing next to Happer. I'm like, he might not even be 6 foot.
Oh, he's not.
It's just funny.
I'm 5'9". On it, like I'm 5'9". That dude, if he doesn't look me straight in the eyes, he's looking at my eyebrows. Like not a lot of difference there. Yeah. Like I've been on the court next to him.
It's a fascinating matchup. Two really, really well coached teams.
And he's been great, but like give me some big guards. That's part of the reason I didn't like Pop, right?
If I was gonna set a turnover mark, would you make me go live ball versus not?
I wouldn't make you, no. Because I think
I think Creighton has got to stay out of double-digit turnovers.
Oh, they're definitely not going to do that. If they can keep it under 12, I'll be happy.
12 with, let's say, 7 or 8 live balls?
No, that's a problem. I need it to be less than half. If it's 12, I need it to be less than half live balls. 6 or fewer live balls.
And you know what's underappreciated? Louisville will go up and contest some of those lobs. For an undersized team,
well, so
they're active.
They're undersized-ish, right? Like their guys are 6'11", they're just skinny.
Yeah.
Like so they're going to have a hard time dealing with Kalkbrenner if they do get in post-ups. They will have a less hard time on the lobs.
You know what Louisville's not going to do?
What's that?
Well, they might. What they don't love to do?
What's that?
They don't dig.
Yeah.
So
Kalkbrenner will have some time.
If he's patient in the post.
And if they can give him the ball.
Yeah.
Right? That's
because it's so much ball pressure.
Yeah. The question, I think the bigger question if he's going to be patient or not, because I think he's actually pretty good at that, is can they get him the basketball? Which, again, goes back to Fedor has to play.
You just won't see Louisville dig. They're going to play you straight up.
That's good news for Creighton. If they can get him the ball.
And Creighton has shooters, so you have to stay attached.
Yeah. If they can get him the ball, then them not digging, like, there's a world in which Kalkbrenner eats today.
Yeah.
Now, got to give him the ball. Like that's a huge.
The pace should be exceptional.
Yeah.
What's the total?
The total. Let's see what we got here.
I got 145 and a hook. Wow, that's about right where it opened.
That's a little light for.
So that is.
That's a little light for. Oh no, that's right on.
Yeah, 73 apiece.
He's got it at. It's a little. He's got it at 147.
Okay.
So it's a little light, not terrible. Yeah, he's got it at 75, 72.
75, 72 Bill.
Louisville, yeah.
Yeah. I'm so glad it's the first game.
Yeah, I want to get it out of the way, if I'm being honest.
Are you like nervous energy?
Yeah, just get it over with.
I like the gear.
Yeah, rocking the hoodie. I'm not one of those. So I was talking to our buddy Evan the other day.
Glad you're back to sharing.
And
sharing is caring, Ravi.
And he was talking about, oh man, he's like, if Illinois loses, like it kind of ruins the rest of my day. He's like, so I wouldn't want him to be first because I want to enjoy all the games.
Yeah.
So he'd like him in like the Omaha slot. And I was like, oh no, like I'm gonna love March Madness. Like I'm gonna love the tournament no matter what happens to Creighton. So I need to get the anxiety out of the way. Right.
Talk about a team that better take care of the ball.
Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Because Xavier will get you.
Although he's gonna be pretty locked in on wrestling today. He's got his boys.
Believe me. So I think you may get a chance to meet Degenerate.
Oh yeah.
He was talking about coming out here, but he wants to make sure that wrestling is available.
We
can make wrestling available.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. What he does, what Evan does for a job, right?
Yeah, he's wrestling's youth pastor.
He's the chaplain.
I said youth pastor. Yeah, he's their chaplain.
Yeah, he's the chaplain for wrestling.
He's the youth guy when they don't have youth. They practice. Is that funny? You know what? I'm just going to tell you. The last couple weeks, I'm sick of your background laughing, and it's always at my expense. You don't laugh at anything out loud when I say it, and I'm funnier.
Well, I don't know about that.
Is it more funny or funnier?
Both are accurate.
Thank you.
Funnier is a real word.
Appreciate the grace.
You probably don't go super happy. Like university.
Up yours.
So I cut my teeth as a young pup.
Young pup. Young pup.
No, you know what's funny? My first year at Grace, there were two or three guys on the team that were older than I was as a coach.
That'd be interesting.
I started when I was like 23.
Coach McGuire or somebody?
Oh, basically. Yeah, I started as an assistant when I was 23. We had three guys on the team that were older than I was.
I got to see what time the TV broadcast starts for wrestling. Otherwise, I might have to bring my fire stick in.
It's
hey, can you guys hook this up? They look at me like I was on crack.
Well, I'll have my computer with me. I'll just bring it up if we need to, because it's on ESPNU.
Yeah, you going to cast it? Nobody wants to sit around and watch your computer.
I mean, you can just sit and watch my computer. It's fine. I'll just hand it to you. Here you go, bud. We'll have more Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next. Wow. Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, and reminding you we're just a week away for the greater good, which is UNMC and Nebraska Medicine's 24-hour giving day. It's greatergoodgivingday.org. That's greatergoodgivingday.org. You can start donating now, but their 24-hour period of giving starts March 22nd at noon and finishes a week from today, March 27th at noon. You can make a gift, and it goes to support not just scholarships and programs, but also research, student groups, and patient care. And if you've had any experience with UNMC, you know they do a fantastic job. Make sure you get out to greatergoodgivingday.org. And during that 24-hour period, if you donate more than $75, you will get a free gift, a limited edition designer hat. We've shown it to you here on the show before. It is a great gift for a great cause. greatergoodgivingday.org. DB.
What up?
How we doing on that bracket? We doing all right?
I'm waiting for you to send me the link. Although I just thought of the fact that I could like QR code that thing.
You could just on your computer there.
Yeah. How quick can I do it?
Don't worry, I've got you covered. We're doing the.
Because I'm telling you, I can do it right now on the fly.
We're gonna copy link. I'm gonna send it to you right now.
I may slow down a little. Slow down when we get to the Elite Eight.
Okay.
Because I did the run through 4 times.
All right, I just sent it to you. I just texted it to you.
Four times. Mm-hmm. Listen what I'm telling you.
4 times. You did the run through. I'm listening. I'm pressing.
It's chalky. It's a little dry. It's chalky.
Early or late? Late. Both. Yeah, late it's very chalky.
I should be like Ken. Is he joking? I don't have the mental capacity to do 25 brackets.
I don't either. I have done.
That is incredible.
So I
don't believe him though.
When I was in high school, I did.
He said, "I'm on which mascots I like better."
I did one where I came up with a ranking system.
Yeah.
Of which mascots would win in a fight.
Oh, that's special.
And I picked the wins that way. It actually did okay for a while. But you know, You often end up with like Pirates in the final, and that doesn't work out very well because Seton Hall's terrible.
I would venture to guess, in all the years I've been doing this, I bet you I've only picked Carolina to win it 4 or 5 times.
Had to have picked him in 05 and 09.
09 I did not.
Really?
No. 09. No, 05 I didn't. 05, so
you didn't believe in McCants and May and Felton and
that team
Marvin
was
Williams?
A work in progress. Remember, that was only a year post Doherty getting fired.
I know, but that team was a wagon.
Oh, they turned out to be.
Yeah.
But watching them play early was not fun.
Maybe not early, but by the end of the season, they were rolling.
Well, they were not fun. And I told you, they just had my boy on, not my boy, but, well, kind of. Rashad McCants was just on a national show last week.
Mm-hmm.
He was as tough with those guys as he is on Gil's Arena. So I'm like, he just doesn't seem like he's any fun to talk to.
I think
he's a contrarian.
Yes. Well, we don't know any of those.
You think there's a what?
I think there's a couple things. I think them losing to Santa Clara the first game of the season probably weighs heavier in your mind than their actual rough start. Because they were 33-4. It couldn't have been that ugly at any point.
Yeah, they just didn't play like their talent.
Sure, and that's fine. But
I remember that. That was, yeah, I definitely remember that year.
Like they had some dicey ones kind of going through, but as far as actual like taking care of business, they were pretty good.
Yeah.
Now they did play their best ball late in the season and it worked out. And I think you're also probably, is it the ACC tournament loss that's bothering you?
Yeah, they tricked it off.
Yeah.
I was like, out on these scrub buckets.
And then Natty.
I'll take that.
Did you like that team?
Personally? The 05 team?
Not really.
I wasn't enamored. I didn't like Sean May's game until later in his career.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a big body, hold the ball guy.
Yeah. Well, he was like below the rim.
But as he, no.
Yeah. He was really good.
Yeah, he turned out to be able to shoot that thing, too. His
really
mid-range
good.
game was pretty saucy.
Yeah.
You watch him coach on the bench, he looks miserable. But he just hasn't aged well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's not like he's decrepit or anything.
No,
that means old and weathered, kind of haggard.
Oh, shoot.
So, well, that's what you would do with me.
So Aramaic, no. So one of my worst takes of all time has to do with the 05 Carolina team.
Worst takes?
Yeah, one of my worst takes.
Oh, I've had some doozies. You know what's funny?
Yeah.
I think one of my worst sports takes happened in 05.
Which one?
And it actually kick-started my radio career.
Which one?
I said something about Terrell Spain.
Okay.
To Kevin and Michael on a call-in show.
Yeah.
That was arguably the worst take of all time. It was something to do with his punt returning prowess and how he should win the job.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. That thing aged like sour milk. I mean, just stinky. I mean, he wasn't even good.
So
I think that got the whole thing started. And I think that was 05.
I have two takes that are by far my worst ever. One of them has to do with 05 Carolina. I was adamant that Raymond Felton was the best point guard in that draft.
Felton was sweet, though.
That was a draft that included Chris Paul and Darren Williams. I was adamant that Ray Felton was the best point guard in that draft.
Mm.
Now, part of it is I just didn't like Chris Paul, so I'll eat that. And because that was right after he had like kicked Julius Hodge in the nuts.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not really messing with this guy, you know?
Yeah.
And I liked Carolina. So I was like, I was a Raymond Felton guy. I was adamant.
I am too. I like Felton.
I was adamant that Raymond Felton was going to be the best. This is worse. My other worst take of all time. Dead set believe that Blaine Gabbert was better than Cam Newton.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah, it was real bad.
That's horrible.
Didn't age well.
Mm.
And let me tell you the victory laps I was taking when Cam Newton was completing like 38% of his passes in preseason.
Yeah, that guy's not going to be very good. Yeah, I've had some dudes.
Those are the two worst ones that come to mind. I still will maintain though if Blaine Gabbert goes to a better situation, he's at least a functional quarterback.
Who's the Avery guy that Nebraska recruited that I swore up and down? I had him in my Super 6. I'm like, this dude is...
Will Avery?
Nope.
Avery Howard?
Nope. Nope.
Avery would definitely be in your Super 6.
Yeah, she's talented.
Avery, do you remember what year?
Man, I want to say it was during the bow stretch.
Oh, I've got a pretty... I don't...
And I'm like,
What the?
That's Avery.
What was that from? She was talking to us.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was from.
Was it Avery Roberts?
Avery Roberts?
No, that's the Duke guard, isn't it? No, that's Will. That's Will Avery. No, that's...
Is that who I'm thinking of? Will Avery from Duke? Will Avery is a person. Will Avery played for Duke. That's what I was thinking. Will Avery.
Somebody has got to bail me out here. But anyway,
take it.
thank you. I thought this guy was a bona fide superstar. His film was an... Oh, I'll give you another one.
Yeah.
Leon Jackson.
Avery Roberts. He ended up at Oregon State.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Did I mumble?
You said Avery Roberts.
Yeah.
Leon Jackson. I remember him.
I'm like...
That was one that I was always waiting on.
That was... So my Leon Jackson to...
Like this 4-star athlete that came out.
And who was the other good running back that came out of California?
Marlon Lucky?
UCLA. And I'm like, man, Leon Jackson's better than that guy.
Oh, you mean went to a different school?
Mm-mm, he went to Nebraska.
One of my worst ones for Nebraska.
What year was Leon Jackson?
I'm looking it up.
I think he was from Pasco in Washington.
He was from Washington. Leon Jackson was, yes.
And I was like, this guy's going to be can't miss. Long strider, get him out in space. Yeah, not so much.
So he's class of 2005. We'll look it up. We'll figure it out here. But the other one, to this day, I thought Jamal Turner should have been a quarterback.
I got some hot NFL takes, too, coming out of the draft.
I was like, Jamal Turner needs to be the starting quarterback at the University of Nebraska. I was pounding the table for anybody that would listen.
You know, I'm one of the few that actually thought Kenny Pickett had a pulse. That was not accurate.
Hey, may not have a pulse. He does have a Super Bowl ring. Coming up next, we're going to talk to our guy, Brian Edwards, Vegas Insider. Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by our Vegas Insider, Major Wagers, Brian Edwards. What's up, B?
Good morning, fellas. One of the best days of the year. How we doing?
I was gonna ask you, where do you rank this in your pantheon of sports days?
I mean, it's up there. It's probably number one, right? I mean, Super Bowl. I think I like the week before the Super Bowl, or even 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, maybe better than Super Sunday because it's just more games. But
yeah,
so I think this is probably number one. Although last Thursday and Friday are pretty good too. Terms of volume of action, etc.
Do you like the fact, because you've got us by an hour, so I mean, do you do much capping the day of with line movements, or are you pretty much locked? He's like, no.
I'm pretty much locked. I've been pretty much locked since Tuesday night, really. I mean, I guess I added a few more yesterday, but I mean, they were like, I added Georgia yesterday, which was kind of I kind of leaned that way all week, and then I saw it move to 7, and I was like, okay, I'm in now at 7.
So you're trying to just beat the closing lines, right?
Right, kind of. And you know what? I this is only just in the last 3 or 4 years. I kind of try not to bet too much because, let me give you two of my favorites: Arkansas +5. And Alabama, Robert Morris over 165 or 166. If they get off to a slow pace on Robert Morris, Alabama, and I can get over 158 in the first 10 minutes, you know what I'm saying? If they're not scoring as much, I'm going to do the over 158 for more than I've got on 165. Does that make sense? Like, I want to get better. So I try not to bet too much because I know I'm going to jump in at better numbers live. So But then if you don't ever get that opportunity, then you kick yourself the whole game. And you're like, oh, God, I should have bet more.
See, you're looking for that word that DB hates, that value word.
I'll take value. I don't like it in like day-to-day plays in terms of using it as a barometer, but I will in like futures, which I don't even usually partake in, or individual sports like UFC or boxing, right? Like if I think a guy's got a puncher's chance and it's plus 400, I'll say, man, that's I like the value, but I don't so much in day to day, because I mean the job is to play the line, not the matchup.
Right.
So B, let's get to some of these first round matchups. I know we talked about them a little bit. You talked about Georgia and Gonzaga. Let's just get into the meat of what everybody wants to talk about here. When you're looking at upset picks, whether money line or spread, what are some of the double-digit seeds that are speaking to you this first round?
Okay, I think Yale and Drake have a really good chance. Now, I didn't bet either on the money line. I bet both plus the points. But I'm not against. In my bracket, I did take Yale. I did not take Drake, but Drake's got a great chance. For those that haven't seen him, Bennett Sturtz is an NBA player. Their head coach won 4 natties at the D2 level. Right. He averages 39.3. How do you average 39.3?
So, I saw a stat. This was a couple of weeks ago. The last 5 games heading into the Mo Valley tournament, last 5 games, he had missed a total of 5 minutes of game time, and the bulk of it was to look at his hand. He had a thumb injury. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it. And around here, we whine that Ashworth plays 34 minutes, and we think that's a ton.
And it is.
No, it is. It absolutely is, especially when you handle the ball. And Sturtz, when he enters the gym, he's open. Like, he's legitimately open.
Yeah, that's going to be a really fun game.
I've seen teams defend him 1,000 different ways, right? They'll use the little quick guys that can stay in front of him. They'll use length so he can't get shots off. And however it is you guard him, he just either steps back further if it's a big guy and will go from like 30 feet, or if it's a little guy, he's like, he just will take him off the bounce. He can play.
So UC Davis is another, or UC San Diego is another one, but gosh, at plus 2.5, that's kind of hard. I only did 2 brackets. I did UC San Diego in the Sweet 16 in one of them, but I did Michigan in the Sweet 16 in the other. So, and I'm not even betting that game. Like, now, that's the game that I'd love to get in on live. If Michigan were to get a good early lead, I could get UC Davis plus 6 or 7. I'd be looking there. But fellas, let me just tell you, your listeners, my favorite bet, like to make today, is not even a game. It's, and I hate to go homer here, but the Gators to win the West region at even money is my heaviest play.
That's got to be a misprint.
Even money?
That's got to be a misprint. What?
Yep.
They should be minus.
You think
money.
We should be getting plus money or favored? Yeah, I think so too.
That should be minus 140, minus 150. That should not be even money. Most people have them in the title game, let alone winning it, right? Like, even money, huh? Right. Oh, I don't know, though.
Yeah.
You're going to take that?
Well, here's the thing. Well, but here's the thing. If you're thinking St. John's is the biggest threat, which I do, you can take St. John's at 6-1 for way less. But for every 300 you bet on Florida, you can bet 50 on St. John's and have your loss covered if you think that's the threat. Now, then if Maryland or Texas Tech does it, then you're hosed, obviously. But,
I don't love St. John's as much as most people.
What's Maryland's money on that?
It was 10 or 11-1. Last night it looked like 9-1 at most books.
Because I think Maryland, Florida is going to be one of the better games in the tournament.
Like, you smelling banger?
Like that one, Maryland. I wish they weren't in the same region. Otherwise, I probably would have taken Maryland to the Final Four.
Well, just one factoid, and it's probably his best team by far, so it may not really apply. But Kevin Willard has never made it to the second weekend. Just FYI, just throwing.
Oh, you don't got to tell me.
He's anti-Willard as the Big East homer ever.
I was hating on Kevin Willard as a Seton Hall coach back in the day. He always had way more talent than he had production and wins on his plate. But it's hard to resist this Maryland team. They've been really good.
All right,
and I'll throw another stat out there that applies to Yale, A&M, and I love Buzz, but a lot of people talk about how he runs his teams into the ground. Buzz is only 2-3 in his last 5 in the first round. Just another stat.
Yeah, I like Yale. They're savvy. Mbanga's tough. They that would be the one double-digit seed I could see. Not that double digits. Let's say 12 or lower, because I'm not going to fall for the Colorado State-Memphis one. I like Memphis in that one. The 13-4s, I think I like Yale. I liked High Point early, but everybody's on High Point. I think Painter's too good. Yep. They'll score more. So I'm not as in love with that anymore. If I was going to pick one from 12 on down, I would definitely go with Yale.
How are we on time? And I got a bunch of them. Do you want me to just spit them out like my favorites?
Yeah. Or? You're good. Okay. Let's start with Arkansas. We'll just go rapid fire. You're good.
All right. Arkansas +5. Here, I'll give a few reasons. Kansas 7-8 straight up, 5-10 against the spread since January 25th. 4-7 ATS last 11 as favorites. Arkansas, they get Boogie Flan back, which is big because now they can go back to an 8-man rotation rather than 7. They're 8-5 straight up, 9-3-1 against the spread their last 13, but 2 of the non-covers were by 1 combined point. So Arkansas +5, maybe a little money line at +180-ish. Really like BYU a lot. They've got a lot of edges in this game that are just like travel and whatnot. VCU played all the way to Sunday. Now they've got a 4-hour flight to Denver into altitude. BYU's accustomed to altitude. They had a 55-minute flight. And they finished playing on Friday, but, got some good run in. They beat Iowa State Thursday. They did lose to Houston Friday, but they've won 9 of 10, 8-2 against the spread in their last 10. Alabama, Robert Morris over, let's see if it's moved any. Looks like over 165.5 or 166. So 10 of their last 11 totals have been higher than 165. 9 of their last 10 games have had 169 combined or more, and 8 of their last 9 have had 179 combined or more. Let's also go with, those were my favorites along with Texas Xavier over last night, which was a winner. And then I would go, these are more like medium opinions. Florida team total over 91. Won't bore you with the stats. I think it'll get there. Let's also go Omaha and St. John's over. I know St. John's is an under team, but a lot of overs for Omaha lately, 14-6 in their last 20. And one of the unders had 157 combined. This one's 148. And a lot of those Mavericks overs were into the 160s, some into the 170s. And then I'll go Drake Mizzou over 132. Mizzou's played 33 games. And they've only had they've only had, where's my stat here? Okay, yeah. They've only had 2 combined scores less than 132. They had 131 to A&M and 114 to Texas. Now, I know Drake is last in adjusted tempo, but Mizzou goes up and down, and this total is their lowest of the year by far in the 132, 133 range. How are we doing on time?
You're good. You're good. Okay. You got a couple minutes. Yeah, you're fine.
All right. Let's go Oklahoma.
I do have a question for you though.
Go ahead, spit it to me.
So
give it to me.
What is it that you like with I get the Sturts thing with Drake. Is it more anti-Mizzou or more positive Drake?
I would say more positive Drake. Now Mizzou has, lost 4 of 5 straight up and against the spread, but all the like really, really good teams that are in the tournament. So And Drake, I'm sorry, Mizzou struggles defensively. So I think Drake will score. I think Mizzou wins a close one. All right.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was. I was just looking for clarity.
Okay. All right. Oklahoma. This is pro Oklahoma plus 5.5 to UConn. Oklahoma's covered in 7 straight, 4 outright wins, the 3 losses by 5 combined. They've been underdogs 18 times, 12-6 against the spread with 8 outright wins, and they're 9-12 against teams in the tournament, including a pair of 1-point losses to third-seeded Kentucky. And then I'm going to go Georgia plus 7, just because. I mean, that's a lot of points. I think Asa Newell can have a lot of success. I think Silas Demery. I think they rebound well, and they were playing good. I mean, they lost to Oklahoma, a close one in the tournament, but they had won 4 in a row prior to that.
You with Oklahoma Gonzaga, is it fears? Is it the way? Is it the conference strength? That's not Gonzaga.
Fears is playing. Fears is playing really. I mean, UConn's won 12 in a row in the tournament, but man, Fears is playing good. And I mean, he killed me. I had Georgia against Oklahoma in the tournament, and Fears, he was so good at that game. He gets wherever he wants off the dribble.
He can definitely.
He gets in the lane.
He is impossible to stay in front of without fouling him.
Yeah,
he gets fouled a ton. I'm surprised that Hurley. I look at a lot of these national brackets. I'm surprised Hurley doesn't get more respect, considering nobody thought Oklahoma should be a 9 anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's just catching the points. I mean, I took UConn to advance in my pool, but I mean, like these last 7 games Oklahoma's covered, they've been an underdog of 3.5 or more in every one of those games. So, you know, they haven't been expected to win any of those last 7. They played good for three weeks or so now.
Gotcha.
That's our guy, Brian Edwards, Vegas Insider, Major Wager. B, enjoy the best sports day of the year, in my opinion. That's enjoy your time, bud.
Thanks, fellas. You have a great week.
Thanks, B.
Coming right back, we will have Michael Bruntz, Husker247 here on Hurrdat Sports Live. Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi. Lulla. We are joined now by Michael Bruntz, Husker247. Bruntz, how are you this morning?
Not bad. What's going on?
We're good. Apparently, the gig is up. We know that you are officially a golf ringer. You're the only guy that your colleagues know that can play a handful of times a year and shoot in the 80s. So apparently, all hail Michael Bruntz.
A handful is generous. I think I played twice last year. And it's
thicker by
not good.
That's what BC said. He said he plays like twice a year, and one of them he's going to shoot like a 78.
So here's the other thing we figured out. Are you hiding a simulator somewhere?
No, I'm not. I've got the little like putting pad in the basement, but that's as close as I get. I don't have the new simulator rig. So
how what's the explanation? Are you just naturally gifted?
I'm lanky. I've got a body built for golf. I was made for golfing. I guess. No, I don't know. I'll shoot like 82 and then like very strong chance I shoot like 107 the next time. So I gotta be careful there. I'm volatile. I think that's probably the best way to describe my golf game.
A variance.
So of the outfits that cover the sports here in the States, Advantage 24/7 is like
no.
But okay, so where's the competition?
So Chris Basnet of the Journal Star is he's a ringer. He's very much a ringer. There's another local radio outfit that I won't mention, but one of their
we don't with radio anymore, Bruntz.
Right. But one of the other they do it online too. I think they're on the internet. They've also got somebody that'll shoot low 70s. So I'm not even close. Like
he is not.
Basnet would wipe the floor with me if we went and played right now.
I was joking with him at PBA and Lincoln, and I don't know if he got the joke or not, but he's probably the coolest, most uncool person I've ever been around.
He's good. He kind of has a zinger like once or twice a week on the internet with the meme that usually gets me pretty good. He's fun. We're drop off and pickup line compatriots. So we usually give each other the little wave as we're trying not to get into accidents.
He is incredibly bright.
Yes. Yeah, he's good for the high school beat too. I think he's got a good he's got a good mind for that stuff. So I got a question for you guys before we start talking about anything of importance.
Before we get anything.
Hey, everybody's got questions. It's like this.
Yeah, no, we can just do this.
Yeah.
Today's a big day, obviously, in the basketball world. What do you guys think of the potential of NBA Inside Stuff coming back?
I'm pretty.
Does that do much for you?
Yeah, it does for me because I think just about everybody else is unwatchable. I tolerate. So somebody I go back and forth on because he's just naive enough to not take himself seriously, but can get pissed enough where I'm like, okay, stand up for yourself. And I know he's a punching bag. Saturday Night Live kills him. I kind of don't mind Kendrick Perkins. I don't know who LeBron is, but and he'll say some crazy things, but he's harmless. Some of these other guys with these strong, I'm like, I can't do it. I'm back. I wouldn't mind inside.
Willow Bay or Summer Sanders as the co-host, though. You have to make a choice.
I would definitely go Summer.
Okay.
As long as Ahmad Rashad's there, that's what matters.
Do the exclusives with Michael Jordan carry the same weight that they did back in 1995?
He just subtly dropped. We were playing cards the other day.
me and MJ closed down the casino at 3 a.m.
We were out on the back deck doing burgers, and he said, I'm just like, okay, Ahmad.
It's like, we get it. You're friends with Michael Jordan. Chill. No, if I was friends with Michael Jordan,
he's got to be 80.
I would work that into every single conversation somehow. No, I'm excited. Inside the NBA was a very important television show for me when I was growing up because you didn't have all the games on, so you kind of catch up what would happen that week.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Inside the NBA. I was a big fan.
Mod 75, by the way. So
that's a deep cut for you, Bruntz. You didn't strike me as an NBA guy.
Back then I was. I'm not now. But you get, especially with Inside Stuff, you get Saved by the Bell as the lead in on Saturday morning. Yeah. About 10:30 when the parents were wanting to go do some they got to run some errands or something like that, and you're just trying to stall so you can see the rest of Inside Stuff, because that was the only way you could see anything that was like non-Bulls Knicks back then.
I'd tell my dad, yep, see you when you get back from Loveland.
I was a big This Week in Baseball guy too.
Oh, Twib Notes was fire.
Yeah.
That's in my wheelhouse.
I loved This Week in Baseball. So my other question for you, Bruntz, before we talk about anything that
it's actually going to be baseball.
Well, that's not my question. Yours can be. My question is, so was there a point, I'm going back to golf here. Was there a point in your life where you did golf a lot and that's how you got good and now you just don't anymore? Or has this always been you're the guy that pisses everybody off because he's only ever golfed like 12 times in his whole life and he shoots 80s?
No, growing up I played a lot. The kids ruin everything. Let's be honest. So
mantra.
You're preaching to the choir, bud.
Yeah. So there's probably a pretty strong correlation of when the golf dropped off was around the time we had our first. So yeah, that's I think BC was kind of overselling what I've got going on. He on our podcast the other day casually dropped. He's like, yeah, I was playing golf yesterday, shot 83 and just kept on driving right by. And we're like, whoa, wait a second here. So yeah, I guess he had the fairway, the rescue club working on Tuesday. So
what did he say
That's what he
yesterday?
called it. He called it the rescue club.
I said, BC, I said, man, that's incredible. Or I said something like, that's pretty sweet. And he goes, yeah, I know. Thanks.
yeah, he's like he's
it was the funniest thing that he said the whole segment, which was pretty hilarious. But he just was like, yeah, I know. Thanks.
It was so dry.
he's he's Sevi Ballesteros with that rescue club, man. He hits that low stinger and kind of takes off walking after it. That's how he does it.
That he's been playing since he's 4, so he's just kind of mad at himself that he should be better.
Yeah.
That's when he went into singing your praises. Speaking of should be better, Bruntz.
Yes.
Well, he usually talks me off the ledge. It's him and Benny Mack. We talked about this in the preseason. So it's early, and you can tell me it's early.
Mm-hmm.
Concern or no with Nebraska offensively?
Well, it's not early anymore. We're getting into prime offense in time. But no, I think there's a level of concern. I mean, when you're hitting 240 as a team and you're constantly switching the lineup, that there's concerns there. I mean, the quality of at bats through the first third of the season has not been good. And I think the one thing I do think they gained from that Pepperdine series, who was not good. Pepperdine is not good. Although I think a lot of people, when they see the name, still think it's 1994 or something like that. But they found, I think, a lineup that can work for them, especially if Dylan Carey and Tyler Stone are hitting. And I really like Robbie Bolin and Riley Silva at the back of the lineup. I mean, I think that was something that they, kind of found over the last couple of games that looked okay. And, the tough thing is, though, is if you roll with that lineup, you're leaving Case Sanderson on the bench. Gabe Swanson is not to be accounted for anywhere in that lineup. And so, in some ways, maybe it's just a situation where, like a shooter, you need to see the ball go in a few times. You need to get a few hits and things like that. I do wonder a little bit if Will Bolt's taken a little bit more of a heavy hand with the offense, just based on some of his comments after that UCLA series. You could kind of hear in his voice that he was not pleased with the way things were headed there. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see if they can kind of take that to USC, but the time to start turning things around is right now, because scoring 3 runs a game on the weekend, that you're not going to win much doing that. And I think that's kind of been the norm so far for this team, even though, I mean, if you go down the line numbers wise, I mean, everybody in that lineup was, except for Brumbaugh, was basically hitting like 30 points below or even more than what they've done historically. So law of averages, maybe, maybe you got to think that at some point it's going to turn around, but you got to get it going in a hurry here, because you're a third of the way through your season.
Let me be specific here, Bruntz, because you're well aware of kind of how the fall went and getting acclimated with Frost. But then we saw that little stretch about 5 or 6 games ago where you're maybe thinking, okay, he's kind of getting it going. Where are you on the consensus of what we think about Frost's role right now as it relates to Big Ten Conference play coming up?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, he's a left-handed power bat, and if they're going to put Bolin and Silva in the outfield, that pretty much slots Frost as your DH. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, Nunez is hitting, so you got to put him at second base. Brumbaugh is your best hitter right now, and your number 3 hitter. You got to put him somewhere. So he's either your DH or your left fielder. So, that's basically what Frost's role is going to be right now, is DH. And I don't know with him if he was pressing in the fall, I know, and it felt like that kind of has carried over to the spring, or at least the start of the season. The at bats have been a little bit better from him, but I mean, when you kind of look at what they needed guys to be coming into the season, you needed Swanson to be a power guy for you. You needed Frost to basically repeat what he did last year. or close to it at South Dakota State. You needed Carey to give you a little pop. And I mean, until basically this week, that hasn't been happening with any of those guys. So, they need to get Frost going. They've given him a lot of chances to do that. And I guess we'll see if, the at-bats, the good at-bats kind of carry into this weekend. But, I think he has kind of been towards the top of the list for me of a little bit of the head scratchers of why, things haven't just kind of taken off. Because, I mean, you look at his history, he hit in JUCO, he hit right out of the gates at South Dakota State. And he's kind of one of those guys that, if once he gets on a roll, he can really hit, but it just hasn't taken off for him yet.
So what would you do with Swanson with such a crowded outfield?
I don't know. I mean, that's the problem with, what they've got is, we going into the season, we said, look, there's probably 13 guys in that lineup that they would feel comfortable playing. I don't know that Nunez was in that group at the start of the year, but I mean, the guy just hits. He is just really consistent. So you got to get him in the lineup. And then, like I said earlier, I mean, that the kind of domino effect of that is you got to get other guys in certain spots. And, Brumbaugh's bat right now is more valuable than Swanson's bat. So I don't know. I mean, in some ways it's a little bit similar to last season because it was around early March when Nebraska kind of pulled the plug on Swanson a little bit, and he didn't really have many at-bats at all last year in March. So, I mean, maybe he shows something in BP or the cages or whatever, but, I would not be surprised if the lineup that they use against USC is very similar to the one that they used the last 2 days against Pepperdine.
So, Bruntz, as you kind of look at this team, I always struggle, especially in baseball, with, okay, are they going to return to what we believe the average is or what historically their average has been, or is this kind of just who they are? Like, how do you weigh that when you're looking at this team and what they've struggled to do so far this year?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, and it would be one thing if it were, just like one or two guys, but I mean, until this week, it was basically everybody except for Nunez and Brumbaugh. I mean, even like, Hogan Helixo, who was almost a 300 hitter at Creighton, he was I think he had 3 RBIs and was 4 for 31 going into the game yesterday. He got 2 RBIs and has looked better. So maybe there's a trend there, but I don't know. I mean, it's the offensive question, especially, has just been kind of tricky because what it forces you to do is if you're a starting pitcher and you're Will Walsh going out there on a Friday night, like you've got to be pretty precise with everything if you only know you're getting, 3 runs behind you. I think Ty Horn it's been less than 3 runs in his starts, and he's pitched pretty well, I think, for the most part. I have no problem with what they're doing on the weekends for the most part. And, we'll see. I mean, if it's still looking like this, second week of April, Nebraska's going to be in a lot of trouble because you got to do something well. And right now they're pitching okay. The offense is, kind of languishing. Defense has been fine, but, they've got to figure out something at the plate. I mean, I kind of tend to look at it as, if you've got 6 guys who have historically hit better than they are right now over a number of years, like it's got to revert at some point, but you're kind of running out of time to do that when you kind of start looking around the Big Ten. You kind of start, it's still a little early for RPI. I usually don't start looking at that until April, but you got to start getting things right there.
So, Bruntz, let me transition real quick to football.
Mm-hmm.
Just a couple of days away, we got into this discussion with Mike J and actually BC to some degree too, with development, and I'm kind of back on that poster child for development. And we landed this plane yesterday about the transfer portal. And if Nebraska's going to be a program that just kind of supplements, right? A key spot here, plug a hole there, plug a hole here. And you wanted Nebraska to capitalize on the success. Would you start with Nawari or Pritchett if you're going to try to grab a high-profile guy out of the portal or two?
in terms of the guy that's got to do something and capitalize on that.
You'd like to look and say, if we're going to do this again next year, say, hey, look what we did with.
Yeah, I mean,
the guy that would pay the most dividends, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I think regionally it's got to be Nwaneri, right? Like, if you get somebody that high profile from the Kansas City area that you're able to do something with, I think there's probably more value in that. I think too, he just plays a position where there's more splash potential, like more. It's like my golf game. There's a lot of volatility. There's more volatility there, and I think you could probably get a little bit more bang for your buck off of that. And plus, it's I think it's a position. Edge, I think, everybody's looking for tackles, but I think edge is where you can kind of change the look of your defense if you find the right guy, or like a defensive end. Like that to me is a little bit more interesting. I mean, are we talking enough about him? Like,
so again, I'm not kidding you. Last week I said it, and then I asked again yesterday. I'm like, it seems like for a guy that was that highly sought of, he's an afterthought. And I asked BC if it was because we're gun shy, we don't know what we're getting, I don't know what, but for a guy that matters so much in the recruiting portal rankings, he's almost non-existent.
Yeah. No, well, I think part of it is the way that he ended up at Nebraska. It was early in the portal process, like it's been months now. There was no drama. He had the do not contact when he went into the portal. I wonder if that affects it a little bit too. I think there's probably a little bit of gun shyness too. I mean, there's just without the name, you look at the profile of a highly ranked guy that was not productive at his last stop, and you kind of had the whispers of what kind of a practice player he is, that kind of a thing. If it was a bad spot or whatever. I think all that probably matters. We were talking about on our podcast yesterday. I was like, he's going to be the guy that I think when they have the media availability where you get to go in and watch practice, we're going to look at him and be like, that's what a defensive end should look like. Like it's almost like, and I am not comparing him whatsoever, but it was like, it's going to be like that first time you saw Randy Gregory in a practice and you're like, holy crap. Like that's an edge defensive end player if you ever saw one. So I don't know. I mean, I think there's probably a potential for more splash there. Pritchett's definitely important. Don't get me wrong, but I just think there's probably a chance to capitalize a little bit more off of what Nwaneri does if he takes off.
Is there anybody else? I mean, since you brought this up and we both were kind of on the same page about Nwaneri maybe not being talked about enough, is there anybody else that you kind of look at and think, hey, are we forgetting about him a little bit?
Portal wise, I don't know. I mean, I think Andrew Marshall's got pretty high potential there. I don't know that we talk about him enough, but the secondary is just such a traffic jam right now. I don't know if we're probably appropriately talking about most of the transfers. I think Nwaneri is probably the one where you just go down the list and you're kind of looking at who's there on the roster, and it's kind of like, oh, right, the a former top 10 player in the country is on the roster. Remember that?
It just seems, and I get it, right? It started with Coach Rule's response to the offseason national championship question. They've been saying they just want to play football. Don't over accentuate it. I mean, the theme is clear, right? They just buckle it up, get better, limit the distractions. Like we've heard this over and over and over again. And maybe the fans are like, hey, we've seen this before. Let's just see what we got.
Well, no, I think there's definitely that on the part of the fan base of like, kind of tired of talking about it a little bit. And that's the tough part when we're sitting here in March. Like it's talking season, like and you're not getting the benefit of the spring game now to kind of at least see a little bit of it, which I'm eager to see how that kind of changes the discussion about things. But yeah, I mean, I think there's part of that. I mean, part of his comments, even about guys that, you probably don't think you're having to worry about. He's been pretty pointed in his comments about Dylan and what he's got to do this offseason. So I think that's definitely, I don't think anybody's safe from the commentary there from the head coach.
That's our guy, Michael Bruntz, Husker247. Bruntz, we appreciate the time as always. We'll talk to you again next week.
Yep. See you guys.
Enjoy that Summer Sanders and Ahmad Rashad.
Are we ringer or no ringer? I think Bruntz is a ringer.
I think so.
You could just tell. He's smart. He said, what did he say? I'm lank.
He said, I'm lanky.
Lanky.
I'm lanky.
Lanky.
He's got good leverages, right, for golf, for that.
I was surprised to hear BC so complimentary, but I have heard from several people in the media that Baz is an absolute wagon.
Yeah. I think for a whole team, though, it might be 24/7. Like Baz might be better individually than any of those three guys.
Yeah.
But if you're going like a squad, I think mustard. I think 24/7 might be our dudes.
Wouldn't shake me up at all if I saw that.
You know what we're gonna do next?
You say yeah, I know. Thanks.
I was eating a cookie, so don't give me too much credit.
I was eating a cookie.
I got a pretty good sewing circle in this state.
Let's take a break.
It's like crunch time, baby.
Let's take a break here, and then DB, we got to fill out your bracket.
Oh, yeah. Just rapid fire.
We got to get it done. That's DB. I'm Ravi. Lulla. More Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next. Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla, and we're brought to you by our friends over at Centris Federal Credit Union. Having the right financial services is important, but without the right financial education, that only gets you part of the way. That's why Centris has partnered with Green Path Financial Wellness to provide free, personalized financial counseling services to their members. Go over to centrisfcu.org to find out more about this program that they have with Green Path. It's a great way to marry financial services provided by Centris Federal Credit Union and financial education provided by Green Path Financial Wellness. Make sure you check it out. centrisfcu.org, federally insured by NCUA.
Hey, can you multitask?
Probably not.
Because I just said create another bracket, but I want to do the Hurrdat Sports Live and not Hoops and Dreams.
Yep.
So which one am I in? By the way, we can take a call. Let's get to TK while my friend with 3 L's is doing something constructive. TK, what's up, champ? How we doing?
Morning, fellas. How we doing?
Good. Just hanging and banging. What's up?
I had to call from the stair stepper this morning.
Did we say something inflammatory? What's going on?
Well, both Nweri and Pritchett are very important.
Okay.
But Pritchett is way more important for the future of recruiting at the offensive tackle spot.
So you know what's interesting?
And he has 1 year.
You know what's interesting? I think yesterday Bruntz said Pritchett, right?
Christopherson?
Yeah. Oh, no. Did I say Bruntz?
Yeah.
I meant BC. Because somehow we got on Pritchett.
Yeah, because I brought him up as another option. But so TK, what we were talking about specifically yesterday was transfer portal. And I made the distinction between high school recruiting and transfer portal because I think for high school recruiting, the answer is Pritchett. Because I think you're going to have more opportunities to recruit high-level high school players if Pritchett is successful at Nebraska.
Even on offensive line?
I think
because we got into the Cantwell discussion. I don't know.
I think offensive line, you're going to have more chances at a high school. Well, you're going to have to fill out the bracket, and then I think I can add it to the Hurrdat Sports Group.
Okay.
But, yeah, I think you're going to have more opportunities to recruit offensive linemen out of high school, and you're going to have more opportunities to recruit edge guys out of the portal. There's not a ton of high-end offensive tackles in the portal from year to year. There's way more edge rushers. So that's kind of where I made that distinction. But, I mean, we're kind of flipping a coin here, right? They're both crucial for Nebraska to have them develop into NFL guys.
Yeah, we need a boost in offensive line recruiting. And if we get a guy who gets picked high, that'll help.
And the example that I gave, because I'm probably more with Pritchett than I am Winery, because those guys sometimes come back around, offensive linemen, because it's hard to peg out of high school. So I'm willing to say out loud, yeah, you know what? It wasn't a good fit, zone versus base or however the scheme is. Like a lot of times those guys may hit the portal. David Sanders Jr. may come around again, right? It could come up where something happens with Tennessee and Nebraska would be right there, right?
Right.
But
Pritchett does really well here.
But the downside,
it's almost a loss.
Right. Well, the downside of that, though, TK, is they cost the most. And I don't know, like Nebraska doesn't really want to play that game either, right? So they would be very, very selective. It's not I just think
repeatable. Overall, we got to get those guys out of high school. And if we can prove that we can put guys in the first and second round, not named Cam Jurgens, it's a lot easier. And plus, we have a great left tackle, way easier to win football games.
Yeah.
Yeah. TK, appreciate the call. Enjoy that stair stepper, bud.
Ooh. Oh, I will. I got 20 more minutes.
Oh, man.
20 more minutes?
Yeah. He took some time for us. You got to add it back in.
I'm just saying.
You think it's way easier to win games with a left tackle?
Than what? Or edge rusher?
Yeah.
No.
I don't either.
You're talking to the guy, though, that says pressure with 4 beats everything in maybe every sport ever. So, that's kind of the hill I'm dying on.
And we won some games with Catula, and he's still a year away.
Yeah. And I thought he played better than people expected. I thought he was fine, but he probably wasn't ready.
He said that pretty matter of fact, too. I may have to go back. That may be one of those where I'll go back and think in about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Pull a Shane and be on delay.
Because I mean,
it's easier to win with a left tackle? I don't know. I don't think so.
I didn't know if he said it's easier to win or you'll just win a lot with a good left tackle. But I'm going to stick on, hey.
Shane, how quick can you reproduce that audio?
What audio?
The one that TK just said.
You would have to take a break.
So not quick.
So not quick.
Yeah,
okay.
And then if we're playing now.
I mean, heaven forbid you just answer the goddamn question.
I was on delay.
You're such a whiner.
I was on delay.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, I didn't answer.
You think Cam will come out?
Maybe. I don't know.
They had time off, obviously, right?
Cam Bam?
Yeah, they'd want everybody to come out, wouldn't they?
I would think so. Support the fam.
The kitchen's already buzzing.
Oh yeah, I think I saw her.
To go be nosy.
Yeah, see what they got cooking.
I want to know how to turn stuff on, just in case.
Just in case what?
I don't know.
You get stranded here?
Yes.
Just in case what?
It happens. People get stranded.
You know how burners work? Just pop that thing on.
I stored some meat here once.
You got to get the hood going and everything though too.
Did you know that?
I did not know that. I thought that was exclusively a Verse thing.
No, I don't know why I picked here, but Bill was actually here and he's like, yeah, I think they'll make room for you in the freezer.
Nice.
And I looked in that freezer and I was like, gosh, I could probably eat for the year. That's all I was thinking.
Your obsession with wanting to cook in that kitchen just blows my mind.
Because this is dumb.
It blows my mind. I don't get it.
I've always wondered what it would be like, because I think I'm a decent cook.
Yeah.
I always wondered what it would be like if I had the tools.
Like to use professional equipment?
Yeah.
No, I get that.
I could cook in bulk.
I get that. Right? Cooking in bulk is hard.
Then I could just get a couple of sous chefs. So I was as...
Sus chefs?
Sus chefs.
Don't you cook in bulk all the time anyway?
No.
He cooks for 4 people.
That's bulk to me.
And one of those people doesn't always eat what I cook, so
I was like, one of those people's
on her own.
A little person,
and they both are on their own. I understand, though.
I'm just saying, yeah. No, it is a lot harder to cook in bulk.
I mean, it's challenging. I'd be like a kid in the candy store back there.
Yeah.
And space. I could dance and pirouette, and play my music, not bump into anybody.
Well, you might probably bump into people. It gets pretty crowded in the kitchen.
Do you want to go rapid fire?
Because they got too many cooks. That's what people always tell me.
Or you want to lock it up first?
No, let's do rapid fire. Let's get through your bracket.
Okay.
We're going to start in the West. Or not in the West. We're going to start in the South.
Sure.
Upper left. Is that what's on your bracket first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Auburn, Alabama State.
Auburn.
Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville.
Hater. Michigan, UC, San Diego.
I'm going to take Michigan.
Texas A&M, Yale.
Yale.
Ole Miss, Carolina.
Carolina.
Iowa State, Lipscomb.
Iowa State.
Marquette, New Mexico.
Quetty.
Ooh, you like New Mexico all year?
Yep.
Michigan State, Bryant.
Michigan State.
Does yours go to the west or the north now?
I can do either or.
Okay, west.
Okay.
Florida, Norfolk State.
Florida.
UConn, Oklahoma.
UConn.
Memphis, Colorado State.
Memphis.
Maryland, Grand Canyon.
Maryland.
Missouri, Drake.
Missouri.
Texas Tech, UNC Wilmington.
Texas Tech.
Kansas, Arkansas.
Kansas.
St. John's, Omaha.
St. John.
Hater.
Chalk the whole way through.
The one upset you picked was Yale.
Yeah, okay.
Drake, Mount St. Mary's. Or Duke, sorry. Duke, Mount St. Mary's, not Drake.
Duke.
Mississippi State, Baylor.
Baylor.
Oregon, Liberty.
Oregon.
Arizona, Akron.
Arizona.
BYU, VCU.
BYU.
Wisconsin, Montana.
Wisconsin.
St. Mary's, Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt.
Alabama, Robert Morris.
Bama.
We still have one upset. Houston, SIU, Edwardsville.
Houston.
Gonzaga, Georgia. This is the longest pause.
Gonzaga.
Ooh, not convincingly. You don't love it.
Gonzaga.
Clemson, McNeese.
Clemson.
Purdue, High Point.
Purdue.
Illinois, Xavier.
Illinois.
Kentucky, Troy.
Kentucky.
UCLA, Utah State.
UCLA.
Tennessee, Wofford.
Tennessee.
That's one upset in the entire first round. You know almost certainly that's not going to happen, right? Okay.
So I think in my other bracket.
So where's your hesitation? Is there any places where?
That's because we went so rapid fire.
Yeah, if there's places you could go the other way.
So go back to the South.
Okay.
Would not surprise me at all if UC San Diego is playing Yale in the second round.
Totally agree.
You get a 12-13. Okay? I would entertain that.
You also took Carolina. I should take it back. You took Carolina, which is a double-digit seed over Ole Miss.
Carolina will beat Ole Miss.
I think that too.
So I'm okay in that region.
Okay. It's
now,
the rest of them you went
Let's
over.
flip over to the East.
Okay.
Like if you gave me more time.
Yeah.
I could see Mississippi State over Baylor.
Oh, you took Mississippi State, I thought.
I took Baylor.
Oh, okay. So that's technically, that could go the other way.
You could also talk me into VCU and BYU.
Yep. I think that's one of the best matchups. I like that one a lot.
BYU has pros, though.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I landed on.
Totally fair.
And they play in a tougher conference.
That's an interesting game, though.
It's a great game.
Yeah.
That's why the line is tweet.
Yeah, 2.5.
You know?
Tweet.
But BYU has pros.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that was ultimately the deal. You could also convince me to take St. Mary's and not Vandy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, wouldn't shock me if Xavier beat Illinois. If Illinois turns the ball over.
They can get beat by anybody.
I mean,
they really can.
Xavier, they punish you when you turn the ball over.
Xavier, you saw them obviously in the second half turn it on last night. But Illinois
Texas scored 33 points.
Illinois can get beat by anybody.
Yeah,
if they play as we've seen them play quite a bit this year. Any pause or hesitation on? I know you don't like Colorado State as an upset, even though they're now a favorite in that game.
I get it.
I mean,
again, not shocked.
Yeah,
great offense at Colorado State. Their actions are sensational. I think they have a head coach that's. I mean, you could hear his name mentioned for as the next head coach here for a job soon
at Minnesota.
Yeah.
So,
I still think Iowa's in play.
You think so?
Yeah.
If they don't want McCollum?
Yep.
Or if McCollum
doesn't want them.
Yeah.
If I'm McCollum, I don't take that job.
I think there's a reason D-Rock didn't take that job.
I think I'm telling you, he had to have a world. I would love to just – I don't have the stones.
To call him?
Yeah, it's like, hey, congrats. I just kept it brief, but I'm like, how hard was it? But I bet you he'd say what you intimated.
NIL.
Better NIL situation.
I think that's the problem at Iowa. I really do.
I think that's probably what he would say.
There's some really upset West Virginia fans online too.
Yeah. I know everybody likes Arkansas. I do not.
Yeah, I just don't like Kansas. That's what it is for me.
That was hard.
Yeah.
You know, if I filled out 10 brackets, I might go 5-5.
Yeah.
But if I just won,
you call them.
Give me Kansas.
Yeah. I just don't like it. This is a Kansas fade more than it is an Arkansas belief.
You kind of been like that with them all year, regardless of when they come up.
Yeah.
It's a hard team to like.
Yeah. I don't like how they play.
Battle tested, though.
They don't seem terribly interested in playing.
When Harris can keep his feet underneath him and he's not dribbling around like Curly Neal, he'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's a lot of ifs, though.
Not really. It's his style.
No, not just with him. I mean with the entire team.
Yeah.
with the entire team, there's a lot of, well, if Hunter Dickinson looks interested, and if Harris isn't dribbling around all the time, and if they decide they want to play any sort of cohesive offense instead of just take turns, if they decide they want to be interested on the defensive end,
I hear you.
That team's just a lot of ifs. If those work out, you're right. That's a dangerous team.
Hey, if you want to lock it up, I'm gonna take KU minus the 5. Go ahead, eye roll.
No eye roll.
Snicker smirk.
Any hesitation on Mizzou Drake? Any at all?
A little.
Okay.
And lock up Louisville.
Louisville lock. Oh, hater.
No, lock it up.
Picking against the Omaha teams. Thought he was an Omaha guy.
I am, and I love Creighton.
Guess he's an Iowa guy now. We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Live. Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. When in about an hour 10 to be exact, hour 11 actually, you can come hang out with me and DB as we get this watch party started for the tournament. They've got prizes you can win just by showing up and signing up for prize packages, gift cards, all sorts of stuff. Make sure you make your way on out. You can hang out with me, DB, Kenny Bell, and the rest of the Hurrdat Sports crew.
Shane, you sticking around? I'll get you one of those fruity melon drinks you like.
What, the blended melon?
Yeah, I knew you.
It's a one in the melon.
You know,
one in a melon.
You know, I like the melons.
And Shane goes back on delay.
Like cantaloupe and all that. I like all that stuff.
So you can come hang out with us.
Here's the funny thing.
At the La Vista location.
That is absolutely 100% his favorite.
Cantaloupe?
God, I love some cantaloupe. Give me a couple.
It's his favorite.
Give me a couple of those and I'm good.
It's just a weird affinity.
Not a big honeydew guy?
I mean,
what other kind of melons do we have?
Muskmelon?
Trying to avoid
cantaloupe, honeydew.
Trying to avoid making a
watermelon.
different. I was trying to avoid making a different kind of joke here.
No, keep your racist comments to yourself.
No, I was talking about honeydew.
Give me a couple of watermelons. I'm good. I'll take that all day long.
I know you will, my little funny friend. You.
So yeah, you can come out to the bar in La Vista and hang out with us a little bit. Maybe you want to, maybe you don't. If you want to hang out with a different crew, you can head out to the bar in Gretna if it's closer and hang out with the Hurrdat 1 crew. But DB and I will be here at La Vista, and you'll have an
To answer Joe's question, peaches are my favorite.
Peaches aren't a melon.
Melons? No, they're not at all.
Didn't say they were a melon, but they are my favorite.
You ever hear that?
Wow.
This
dude,
the Peaches
I think
song?
he's having a moment.
Millions of
You
peaches.
good over there, Liquid?
Like peaches and cream.
You good, Shano?
Yeah, I'm good. I just need some melons.
Yeah, I'm good.
You just keep your
I'm good.
Keep your melons, peaches, and cream over there, Shano.
I'm good. Who do you like, Marquette or New Mexico?
New Mexico.
Oklahoma or UConn?
Oklahoma. Or no, UConn.
Okay.
I don't think Oklahoma's very good.
I'm just checking.
I'll be rooting for Oklahoma, but I picked UConn.
Hey, who's the Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death guy? Is it John Adams?
Patrick Henry.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Good one.
I'm pretty good. I'm U.S. history's of.
I like that part of the U.S. too.
Yeah.
For that time period.
Yeah. No, there's some interesting stuff. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Probably should have given that dude death.
Hey, our guy Justin. Justin likes melon flavored cake.
That sounds horrible.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds
like JR Justin?
That sounds terrible.
That's one of his first poor takes, if that's Justin.
I've never had that.
I always want to say bye, Justin, but I'll share.
You can have him.
That's fine. TK did give us some clarity.
Okay.
He said, gosh, this dude must be AI voice texting. This was fast. Great left tackle for Nebraska is more important than winning. Got to protect DR and have to be able to run behind that line if Nebraska wants to win 9 games. I may be a bit biased as a former old lineman. There are so many more great edge rushers than left tackles, MIO, which I agree with. There's the legend. Did you say hello?
I did not. I didn't see him.
He's like the butler on Mr. Deeds.
I know.
And I left.
I also have terrible.
He's a shy guy. I know your peripheral stuff.
On my right is really bad, yeah.
He says, I think the gap is only going to get wider the more we decide not to practice live, which is the best way to improve the quality of your O-line individually and as a unit. Spoken like a true O-lineman, TK. Now get back on the Stairmaster.
Yeah, get stepping.
Now, listen.
I don't disagree with anything he says.
I'm not going to pick that apart.
I'm really not either. And if you want to make it specific.
But it is not easier to win with a good left tackle, though. But I'll take that.
I do agree that there's more good edge rushers than there are good left tackles. Yeah. I'll agree with that. I do think an edge rusher makes it easier to win. I think it affects more things. And if we're just talking about left tackle, I think it's easier if you've got let's say the rest of your line's a B+.
Yeah.
And your left tackle is a C-. So not bad, but below average. Okay. I think it's easier with a B+ rest of your offensive line to hide some of the things from your left tackle than it is if you've got a B+ D line across the board and do not have an elite edge rusher. Like, I think that's harder it's harder to get pressure because you're compromising so many other things to go get your pressure then. Yeah. Whereas if you're just kind of shifting away or sort of covering up for a C- left tackle, but you've got a B+ rest of your offensive line, I think you can get away with that.
Shifting away.
Sailing. Sticks.
I did know that.
You big Sticks guy? You like that song?
Although the little dude in Big Daddy was convinced that Styx
was the greatest band of all time.
Was one of the greatest bands of all time. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
My man had his little lisp going on. And Styx was one of the greatest American bands of all time. And something about cynical a-holes.
But what is
that was Julian. That was the little dude.
What's his other line?
He had a lift?
That wasn't really a lift.
It's just like a little kid. Like how little kids talk.
I thought you said he had a lift. I was interested.
Like in his shoes, like you were?
Yeah.
I do. Never mind.
What?
There's a backstory to his whole fruit thing.
I'm aware.
And he told you the absolute truth.
No, I know.
And I was going to tie in the whole lifts thing. But it's not appropriate.
You know, they call in the UK, they call elevators lifts. No, if you know that.
I did not. I do not spend much time in the UK.
It's like
I like quality ice.
It's like that would be my hardest thing if I ever moved to Europe.
You room temperature drinks?
Yeah, I like really cold drinks.
I'll go thirsty if we don't have ice.
I'll just drink alcohol.
Really?
Like if I'm not gonna drink room temperature soda.
I'll just drink room temperature beer.
No, I'm not gonna drink room temperature beer, but
their beer isn't cold.
There's alcohols you can drink at room temperature that aren't bad.
Ooh, what would that be?
Well, I mean, red wines are typically not chilled.
Because
nothing
that I can think of.
No, I was mostly thinking red wine. Like red wine, you can drink room temperature. You're supposed to drink room temperature. Most of it.
Red wine.
Stay close to me.
You're out.
What?
I have one question.
What's that?
Do you have Kentucky and Illinois playing one another?
Kentucky and Illinois.
You don't know if you do or not?
I do
not remember.
I do. I have them. You
took Kentucky?
Yeah.
It's just hard to have Illinois go on a run when they could lose the opener.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I'm not in love with Kentucky either.
Matter of fact, Ravi is funny, Ravi. I do want to give him an elbow to the temple sometimes, though.
There's a lot of versions of me you want to give an elbow to the temple. I'm starting to think you may not be kidding when you say you don't like me very much.
Some are. It's not always an elbow to the temple, though. Some are a thumb to the esophagus.
Is that petty, Ravi?
And then some are just a kidney to wake you up.
Oh, okay. What about the headlock?
That's too much work.
Okay,
man, your frame is not conducive for that.
There's just a lot of violence. I feel like coming here.
It's not. Sometimes I always. This is so stupid, but so me. Sometimes, depending on how things may shake out, you always size up who you're around.
Oh,
just in case.
No, I understand. Yeah.
Not that I ever think you're gonna snap, but if you. If you do, though, there definitely be
there are things you're gonna go for.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it.
For Shane, I know I'd have to protect my kneecaps.
I was more worried about my ankles.
I have to stand.
Depends on I thought you were gonna go for the melons. That's what I was going for.
Depends on if he's wearing lips or not.
I was gonna say Shane doesn't bite, but actually he does.
What was that thing you said about erasers earlier? Anyway, we gotta go. It's time.
That was you. Weirdo.
I don't know. I was biting erasers when I was a kid. What do you want from me?
Did you wonder what they were made of?
I think I was curious about the texture.
You know the ones that were the weird shape? It's not like an octagon. It was like a hecka.
Yeah.
They were like slanted on the end.
That's a parallelogram. That's like a 3D parallelogram.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And you used to see how flexible they were.
Oh, yeah, I did.
They would always snap.
I did that a lot.
Like, damn it.
Yeah.
Now I got to erase with the rough end.
Now
and it would tear your paper.
Yeah.
We're children.
Just mess your stuff up right up.
Come hang out with some kids.
That's DB.
Us.
I'm Ravi Lulla. We'll be back tomorrow, but we'll be here all day. Come hang out, watch some hoops at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.